This is the MLW Radio Network.
Welcome, everybody, to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly peek into the world according to former WWE and ECW wrestler, the Blue Meanie. We'll cover wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge, all contained in the Mind of the Meanie. I'm Josh Shernoff, and he is the Blue Meanie. Meanie, what is up, man?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Good.
Feeling pretty productive. Got up at a reasonable hour, got my oil changed, and came promptly right home because I don't want to be out in the apocalypse.
That oil change, is that kind of like a Tin Man situation? Like as you get older, you kind of have to get the...
I could probably use a good fucking lubing over here, but...
Oh, my. How was your Labor Day?
Dude, I had a friend come over from England once. Well, a couple times. My buddy Gabby over in England. And she came over, and we're walking around. We went to the Oregon Diner, and right next door, it's the fucking car wash, oil change place.
Jiffy Lube?
No, God damn
going
it!
with the
I was
lubes.
just there.
Oh, this is the place
Either
you
way.
were like a couple hours ago?
Oh yeah, I was
that can't
just
help.
there.
That
I
can't
just
help
I just paid them to. Oh man, it's one of those fancy fucking words. Either way, regardless,
Got a mystery already on this show.
regardless of my inability to remember a place I was just fucking at, their sign says "Wash and Lube."
Yeah, it does.
And my friend Gabby thought it was the funniest fucking thing. She's like, "How can you have a sign like that?" It's like, lube. Everybody knows what fucking lube is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that was my ear.
Bless you.
Yeah.
What's happening there?
No, doing good, man. It's nice out. It's for those listening on Monday, we record on Saturday, of course. It's a football Saturday, and it feels like a football Saturday.
Yeah, finally.
Like this whole waiting for football tomorrow hasn't felt the same. But like I went out this morning, it was a little chill in the air. I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
this feels good.
It's like the weather shifted just so it felt a little bit more appropriate for football season. Although all summer long, I still thought it was like April. So I was just consistently confused by the weather. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm obviously wearing my Property of Pod Squad t-shirt. And you're rocking your, if you want to share with everybody.
My Reggie White jersey with the Jerome Brown patch on the left-hand side.
Nice.
Bring it home from Jerome. We're mindful that a lot of our listeners are not from America.
Yeah.
So we'll try to keep the football talk to
and the ones that are aren't from Philadelphia, a lot of them. So having said that, let's break down tomorrow's game. Now, as we're recording this now, I feel like, dude, at some point, there we go. At some point, I feel like we're just going to be figuring out how to live stream directly to everybody with our podcast, because this is like, how many weeks in a row have we been like, well, we've got this big thing coming up tomorrow or 2 days from now or yesterday, depending on when you're listening to this.
Right.
But no, well, we're so excited, man. Philadelphia versus the Washington football team.
Very appropriate.
Yeah.
Very generic name.
Yeah, man, it's
Very
like they
generic
really were
team.
like, we're going to rebrand. We're going to come up with something else. And they're just like, what can't be offensive? And I'm like, I guess the name of the town.
And you know what?
Maybe.
They changed their name from the Washington Redskins because that was, rightfully so deemed inappropriate. But then the Native American folks said, hey, why don't you do this? And they're like, nope, we'll just be the Washington football team.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll change it.
Alrighty.
But clearly we're a little we're a little butthurt about it, and don't want to do anything to honor anybody. Yeah, but I am excited. Even though Deshaun Jackson posted that anti-Semitic thing a couple weeks back. I'm still excited to have him back, purely for the team. Wasn't exactly his finest hour, and I wasn't really thrilled about it. But at the same time, I don't know. Like I kind of bowed out on the Eagles when Michael Vick was there. I just couldn't cheer the guy because he's a piece of garbage. But but now at this point, it's like, hey, you know what? He said he was sorry and didn't know and I mean, I'm sure that's a load of crap, but whatever. I'm just gonna ignore it for now. We have everybody worse
goes,
things
I didn't
way
do it
higher
until
up
they get
going
caught, and then they go, "Oop, you got me."
Yeah. But hey, let's talk for a minute. Want to thank everybody who tuned in to alternative commentary last week.
Absolutely.
For AEW All Out. We got the preliminary numbers from Fight TV, and it was just straight up almost to the number if you added a 0 next to, in a good way, next to our previous number from SummerSlam. So, I mean,
it was staggering. When you told me a number, I went, what?
Yeah.
Considering everything that went into the like right before we went, like it was like a typical ECW pay-per-view where we're down to the fucking wire going live. We were having issues and
we still can't. So this weird thing, if anybody listening knows how to is familiar with Ecamm Live, that is the platform that we use for our live streaming. Right now, as we're recording this podcast, I'm doing the Ecamm Live. Obviously, our Patreon elite members are watching us live, and hello to all of you. Hello. It is great to see you. We actually said hello before we started recording as well, because that's the kind of cool stuff you get. And I should be honest, the cool stuff you get is us going, well, we're just kind of waiting around. So, hey guys, getting ready to start. But it's fun. No, we had some fun stuff that happened beforehand. But
we have the motto where like we will sign on, and I learned this from like a Tom Green interview. He was talking about he's interviewing Ed McMahon, and he's trying to have a conversation with Ed, and Ed's not really talking to him. And then Ed turns to him and says, "Don't leave the conversation in the hallway."
Yeah. Like,
don't have the best part of the conversation. So we're just like, so I don't want to say something that's so brilliant and like we're not recording, or not like I'm going to say anything mind blowing, but say something that we're like, shit, we weren't recording.
Right off the top of your head, and inside will just be your brain saying wrestling, music, sports, movies. Hold my calls. Logo by the great Hal Haney.
Love him.
But thank you so much, everybody who tuned in to Alternative Commentary. You can still check that out on Fight TV. It was a lot of fun. I will say we had a troll that got thrown out eventually at one point. It was really like my first time dealing with a troll live like that.
Right.
And I was like kind of annoyed. I was really annoyed by it. But you know what?
I like how I'm annoyed by these flies in my fucking house. Right now.
Yeah. I wasn't even saying anything about them yet. But by the end of it with the troll, this is what happened. They were annoying for like 5 minutes. Then they got thrown out. And them being there counts when Fight TV goes, hey, check out what your numbers were. So as far as I'm concerned,
one extra person.
Thanks for being there. We appreciate it. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. And AEW put on a great show, and
absolutely,
it was great to be there and be a part of Fight. I did just confirm with Mike Weber at Fight. And Meanie, I apologize if I didn't tell you that you knew this was happening already.
Breaking news.
Yeah. Oh, where is it? Oh, I'm never ready for this. Here we go. Breaking news, we will officially be returning to Alternative Commentary November 7th for the next AEW pay-per-view. I believe it's Full Gear. So looking forward to that. And I would bet the farm that we'll be back for Survivor Series as well. And that's kind of a special one for me, Survivor Series, because so says Shernoff, before it was ever on Fight TV and it was just on my YouTube channel, I did a thing called So Says Shernoff Survivor Series Special. And that
that fucking 3 times.
That was kind of the intention. And I did that. sitting right where I'm sitting right now. And because of the response to that, that is what got Fight TV interested. And that was November. By January, we were on Fight TV. So that, and that's what kicked off my relationship working with Fight. So being able to do an alternative commentary now, 2 years later for Survivor Series would be really, really cool.
Tremendous.
And especially be able to do that with you. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, man, I'm grateful for the opportunity. You know, we do the podcast, and I get really excited before we start. And now, like in the beginning, it was just me and you, but now we got our Patreons, we got the Pod Squad watching live, and now we're doing live stuff on Fight TV, and it's relit that fire. I get my tummy every time I get to do something live. Whether it was be an ECW pay-per-view, WWE pay-per-view, Raw, whatever. Because there's always that sense of danger in being live.
Yeah.
And there's this mental gymnastics that you go through when you're live and you're trying, and especially when you're in a situation where you're like, don't say fuck. But luckily with Fight TV, we can say we're allowed to. Thank God. It'd be like the time Mad TV did a skit on The Sopranos going into syndication, and they showed the syndicated version, and every other clip was cut it was just like The Sopranos on A&E. But thankfully we could swear like that. So
yes, it is. I'm glad that we're able to do that, because that is something that is makes it a little bit less nerve-wracking when you're doing it. And especially I think being live, just sitting in our homes doing this, it's very easy to forget that you're actually live. Like that was something I remember the first time we went live was the first time we did calls for our Patreon members, patreon.com/mindofthemeanie. We do, for our elite members, we do a monthly call, a check-in call, which we will be doing again for this month. And a lot of new people that we didn't call last time. So we're very excited about that. But it was right up I want to say it was Travis, Pod Squad member Travis.
Yeah.
Who we called, who's in
Big
Canada.
Trav.
Yeah. He's over in Canada, and he was just talking about something we had just said when we got off the air. And it was the first time we had ever done the show live. So Meanie and I were just kind of like, this is so weird. How the hell did they know what we were just talking about a second ago? And it's just so it's been really nice now that we can, interact and do that. And but it does get nerve-wracking. But the secret, everybody
in a good way.
Well, everyone thinks that we got in a good way. Everybody thinks that, it's like, oh my God, they're so high tech now. They're doing all these live this, live that. A lot of it was just like, I was like, man, I don't have the time to edit this anymore to get it out in time. But if we do it live, then I don't have to edit. But no, it's I
like doing it live.
I love it. Do it live.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, like that call was unique when he's like, I love when you guys, I was like, were you looking at my fucking window? No, it's been very cool. And there's a lot of stuff we talk about off air. We're text buddies. And we got a lot of stuff in the down the chute in the works that I'm excited to hopefully announce soon. You said that maybe 8 weeks, now maybe 7 weeks.
Maybe even sooner.
Yeah. Well, there's that other thing you said that we might have a first look at. It was supposed to be yesterday.
Yeah, but it's not. It's a little bit
as
delayed
we tease the fans
to tighten some things up.
I could use some tightening. So.
Oh man, but no, we're excited about that. And I will say, here's another thing: our Patreon members they will get these breaking, as they say, breaking news alerts when something happens. So that's another reason to encourage everybody listening who hates us so much for constantly talking about Patreon, and we love you for just listening and tuning in. We really, really appreciate it. But for just $5, all the stuff we're talking about that we can't even tell our Patreon members yet, the first people to find out will be the Patreon members. they will
and
find
they get
out
first dibs.
Yeah, and so we encourage you, just come pop in. It's a 1 month commitment. It's $5. It's a venti skinny vanilla latte at Starbucks. Okay, it's that's Meanie's looking. He's like, the fuck is a skinny vanilla latte? It means
I don't know skinny anything.
It means skim milk instead of. Hey, when I lived in what?
I popped the other day.
Oh,
this is how fat I am.
Sounds like a mess.
This is how fat I am. It's not even really fat, but like I was in Dunkin'. I actually went into a Dunkin' Donuts because the line at the drive-thru was way too fucking long. And I'm standing there, and there was like a billboard, and they're like, "You can have oat milk." I went, I'm 47, and oat milk makes me go, It's just like, maybe I'll give that a try. It's like you said, the most, bland thing, and I'm just like, ooh, oat milk.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. Will you be serving prunes on the side as well? But it's true. But it's true. Well, yeah,
prunes serve
need that
me
like a hole in the head. But it's true. Like I'll be I'm looking at like I drink almond milk a lot. Some things I can't, like I'll drink almond milk if I was gonna have like a protein shake or something.
Yeah,
I'll use almond milk. But if I'm having if I'm putting something in my coffee, it's milk. It's cow's milk. I can't. The almond milk, I tried my coffee once. I'm like, this is revolting. This tastes terrible.
Really?
Yeah, it was not good to me.
Yeah. No.
I had
saying you're wrong. Podcast is over. This is the last episode of Mine and DeMeanie.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I can put up with a lot, but don't you dare disparage the good name of almond milk.
You can make fun of my age, but God damn it, leave almond milk alone. You animal.
I remember when I lived in California for a couple of years, and it was Southern California, so it wasn't, I didn't have to wear stonewashed jeans or anything, but I just assume everyone does in Northern California.
Well, once you cross that line of demarcation into Northern California, just everything changes. You get stonewashed jeans, you get a fat tongue, you get a mullet.
Oh, man.
And your keyboard looks like an Entman's breakfast Danish. Just fucking looks like a fucking toaster strudel.
Oh man.
Fucks were here.
So okay, so I don't know what the hell I was even gonna say at this point.
You lived in Southern California.
Oh, I lived in Southern California, and I went in and I asked for skim milk in my coffee at one point, and they were like, they had no idea what I was talking about. And I'm like, skim milk, like no fat. They're like, oh, you mean fat-free milk? And apparently skim is an East Coast thing. So, or at least not a Southern California thing.
I learned that as a kid, that a lot of things are really regional. Mm-hmm. Like Philadelphia, we have hoagies. New York's, some places have subs. Some places have grinders. And I was thinking about this the other day because I had to go to Connecticut last week, and hence why we did the show early.
Yeah. And
driving around Mrs. Meanie's neighborhood, where her mom lives, instead of yard sales, they have tag sales. Which is, yeah. So if you see a sign for tag sales, basically it's a yard sale. You just go to somebody's house and buy shit off their lawn. Huh. So it's like you just said that, just jarred a memory of like, when I moved to Ohio to live with Al for a little bit, they didn't call it soda; they called it pop.
Yeah.
And it almost became like this like heated thing, like where like none of us would budge. I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have a soda. He's like, you go have that pop. I was like, well, the term is soda pop, so soda comes first. So Al, and then like it would just be like 3 hours on a car ride. It's just us debating soda pop, but yeah, everything. Oh, if you go to Georgia, no matter what you're drinking, it's a Coke.
And there's also, which is so weird. And then there's also...
Because Coke is, I want to say, manufactured there. They had the plant. It might have started there. So everything, whether you're drinking Pepsi or whatever, I'll have a Coke.
I remember my sister had some friends from an overnight camp. I don't remember where they lived, but they referred to sneakers as tennis shoes.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
I got made fun of as a kid for saying sneakers to somebody. Living in Atlantic City, you meet a lot of out-of-towners. Mm-hmm. And my pop was a security guard at the Trump Plaza, and I used to always go to the arcade there. So I meet kids from all over the country, which is kind of cool. Meet somebody from Canada or Kentucky or wherever. And I met one kid. He said something about we're talking about sneakers. I called him sneakers. He's like, "What? What's a sneaker?" And I was like, "The fucking thing on my fucking foot." He goes, "We call them tennis shoes." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up."
Like, have you ever played tennis in them?
Yeah, I don't play tennis. You
know. We have bowling shoes that you use when you're bowling.
Yeah. I do a lot of sneaking. It's mostly to the fridge.
You made me think of something that you might find interesting. Because you're a man who likes sandwiches.
Hey, come on, man.
Who doesn't?
What the fuck?
No,
I thought you knew me.
Hey, now. But so you were talking about like hoagies and subs and things like that. Do you know where the term hoagie is believed to have come from?
Tell me.
So I learned this years ago. I don't remember who told me this, but Hog Island is where the hell? I don't know where Hog Island is, but apparently the idea was that the people who worked on Hog Island would make these sandwiches. The first one was like introduced like the putting meat between the bread type thing and doing all of that, and so they called them hoggies, which eventually became hoagies. I'm gonna look up where Hog Island is.
It's so funny you said that because there's a mummers brigade in South Philly called Hog Island, and their clubhouse is like, 10 minutes from my house. So I pass it.
Well, I mean, it's definitely. I know it's a Philadelphia thing. Like, I'm just saying I don't know where in, but that's why we call them hoagies.
Hog Island. There's like, we got the Delaware River right here, and there's like many. Well, that wouldn't be an island. There's like many things of land.
Okay, so here you go. Hog Island is according to Wikipedia. So
it's factual.
But who really, would put fake things in for Hog Island,
Yeah, because they say I'm fucking married with kids, but go ahead.
That's true. Okay. How is your son, by the way?
I don't know.
He must be. Is he driving at this point based on Wikipedia?
I didn't know Kleenex could fucking reproduce.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
This is my son, Saki.
Mr. Sacco. That's right.
Meanie Saki.
There's a T-shirt somewhere in there, Andy.
No, Andy. Don't.
Okay, so to the
Andy,
west,
no.
Bad, Andy. Along the Delaware River to the west of the mouth of the Schuylkill River. Philadelphia International Airport now sits on the land that was once Hog Island. All right, well there you go.
Well, that explains it. Yeah.
Okay, here you go. One legend of the origin of the hoagie sandwich is tied to Hog Island. Dominic Vitale, I don't know. Professor of Urban Studies at the University of Pennsylvania asserts that Italians working on Hog Island in the old Navy Yard introduced the sandwich by putting various meat, cheese, and lettuce between two slices of bread. This became known as the Hog Island sandwich, or the hoggie, eventually the hoagie.
There you go.
So, dun 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 dun. The more you know. Thank you for joining us in Mind of the Meanie. We hope you've learned something, and I feel like you really have. Yeah. So, hey, I wanted to ask you, Meanie,
yes, sir.
Your thoughts on. So everybody's kind of. We saw this during alternative commentary. We talked about Kip Sabian had held up his Twitch poster, and then it was like AEW approves this message. What are your thoughts? Obviously, you've been active on social media for a while now. We've talked about it in the past. Your T-shirt in the video game even had mindofthemeanie.com. So you've been taking BlueMeanie.com, not mindofthemeanie.com.
Yeah. I was ahead of my time.
Yeah. You're like, mindofthemeanie.com. I don't know what this is going to be, but eventually people are going to want to check it out. BlueMeanie.com. There was life before this podcast. But so you've been ahead of the curve with this, with having your own social media. I didn't say that right. Social media. I'm like, I got marbles.
Well, I was social before the social media.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on this, on WWE stance of the third party, cutting off work with third party places like Twitch? And I haven't heard anything. I don't believe they're cutting out Twitter or anything. Although I think Twitter for WWE talent, I think Twitter's kind of a work anyway. A lot of the time, like I think they're being told tweet this or tweet that, or they have other people tweeting it for them. That's been exposed. I think I don't remember exactly who it was, but it was like multiple people tweeted the exact same thing. Like clearly the wires got crossed there. So what's your feeling on it? While I crack open a cold one.
Oh, hold on. I've been saving this one. What do you have?
I just got the mango lime. I gotta be honest with you, they've only got a handful of things at Wegmans of different flavors, and I'm running out. I'm hoping for some seasonal stuff. If anybody knows, what do you have? Do you have seasonal?
Spindrift, half tea, half lemon.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I brought that home all the way from Connecticut.
I need to start looking outside of just Wegmans brand and see if I can find some cool stuff, because they've got a whole aisle with it. So that's cool.
Apparently, I thought this was like a Connecticut thing, but apparently they sell these at Target. The brand is called Spindrift.
Interesting. We'll have to give that a shot next time I'm at Target. All right, and go Birds.
Go Birds.
Wipe the floor. Wash it.
This is way better cold, by the way. I was like, I gotta try this. I tried it warm. I was like, bro.
Oh man, you know what? I had opened up a can. I was in the car the other day. Opened up a can of whoop ass. No. I opened up a seltzer, and then I left it in my car, and I came back into my car. And I'm like, I'll have a sip. It was flat and warm and not good. So
sounds like my ass. Flat, warm, and it's not good.
Nah, your ass can't be that flat.
Nah, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I have a plump.
I've watched, I hate to see you go, but I love to watch you leave, Meanie. So, anyway.
I used to do, before I get back to social media, I used to do this thing in the locker room where I'd get like a towel or stick of deodorant and put it in my butt cheeks and walk around going, hey, anybody see my deodorant? And just like turn around and there it is in my ass cheeks. I can't find my deodorant. Where the fuck did it go? Or if you put your towel in between your butt cheeks and you're walking around like Red Hot Chili Pepper style with your hand over your gimmick. Hey guys, have you seen my towel? You just turn around and it's just dragging behind you with your butt cheeks. I can't find my fucking towel. And just to pop the boys,
Oh,
but back to social media.
Hey, real quick, James Sorensen wants to know if what are your top three Spindrift seltzers?
I think this is my first one.
Oh, well, you'll never forget your first. So
no, it was quick and I cried. And my grandma walked in. What? She's been dead for 20 years.
Oh, this is getting worse. Oh man! All right.
Seriously, she walked in though.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, you can't glide past this one. What?
No. It wasn't. It was the.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need to be on. I'm not even going to explain what you just did there. But join Patreon. If you want to know what Meanie just described along with those sounds, go to patreon.com/mind of the Meanie. It is worth it for just $5. Come in, do that, get your discount
Well, it
code.
happened to me for free. I didn't even have to pay $5. I don't even know if I want to go into the store. It's just like the girl went, I think my grandma just looked in. I was like, oh, well, get back to work. First day of high school, I was like, yeah, I like this. So,
man.
But anyway,
good times.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me finish popping myself here. I'm just.
All of it seems like our Patreon members who are checking this out now seem to enjoy us going off the rails. Feel free to tweet this out and encourage people to join in. We're only how many minutes in here?
30.
We're only like 30 minutes in. They definitely have time to sign up to Patreon and join us while we're still going.
Oh my God. Yeah. I got homework to do, honey. Get back to work. Yeah, so I was definitely I could have saved that line for when you're taking a sip of your seltzer there. I wanted to make you fucking spray.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was definitely social before social media. 90s when there was the AOL when that was a thing. Mm-hmm. Whether it be in the chat rooms and then eventually they gave me my own message board in the old AOL grandstand area.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, AOL grandstand. A few, as far as I can remember, it was me, Mark Merrow, Diamond Dallas Page, Jericho. Were probably like the first, I think Chris Canyon might have been the first guys to go on message boards and stuff like that to interact with fans. And I think they eventually, I know they gave me a message board. I think they gave Paige one and all that stuff. And when I got to WWE, I got like the WWE name, all that stuff. So I was, and then you said I had I started working on my ring shirts, BlueMeanie.com to promote my show. I was like, fuck, I'm on TV. So I told all my shirts said Blue Meanie. I just went to my airbrush girl and said, put .com on it and add that. And it got to the point where Stephanie McMahon came up to me at a random TV and goes, I noticed you've been putting Blue Meanie, BlueMeanie.com. That's very good. And she actually, like in a positive way, was just like wanted to talk to me about maybe seeing about making my website part of the WWE. I don't even think they called it WWE Universe at the time, but part of their network.
Yeah, that's
and
really,
it's
really cool, Meanie. You were of course fired, but that was really cool for you to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
but what we call it?
So you had your website, you're doing that, and of course, even then, as you're saying, Stephanie, which no fault of Stephanie's great business.
Stephanie's brilliant.
Yeah, to say, let's bring it under our umbrella, which really, at that point in time, it wouldn't have hurt you in any way.
It would have helped.
That. I know they were doing like therock.com and stuff like that, so putting that in, if anything, would just put you in a really good category. So that again leads to why I'm curious of your opinion on this.
Well, even to the point where like WWE guys, there's a period where WWE guys could do independent dates.
Right.
Like this is like this started in the era when houses were down and guys weren't always getting booked. Or we'll let them do some indies, keep the ring rust off or whatever. And eventually, once Raw started getting hot and the ratings start going up and the houses were up and all this stuff, they, and those were called third-party bookings. Okay. Like if you're an independent,
did they have to go through the office or no?
If you were an independent wrestling promoter, you had to call like Kevin Kelly at the WWE, and Kevin Kelly would call you up and like, hey, I got this booking for you and a lot of times it was for like local shit. A lot of times I worked for Donnie B, Devious Donnie B, Nova's brother. He had a Phoenix Championship Wrestling in Toms River or somewhere in the middle of Pennsylvania. Hey, I got this idea, thing for a booking. You want to do it? Sure. All right, I'm off. So I would, and there'd be a couple times where I did there's one time I did a show in middle Pennsylvania. I had to drive several hours home and go right to the airport, grab my bags, go to the airport, and fly to Detroit for, I was like, dude, I probably could have just drove to Detroit with the time it took me to come back and all that stuff. But, they would do, but like as WWE started getting hotter, they kind of weaned off to the point where, and they, like when you worked for the independent promoter, they would pay you directly. But they eventually tried to discourage people to do it by making the independent promoter send the advance to the office, and then they would pay you. WWE would pay you for that third party booking and stuff like that.
So, and it's interesting because it's been posted online some contracts you can find because of various lawsuits and whatnot. You can find people's contracts, and there's something like no less than 10% on a third party booking, whether it's, I don't know if that's wrestling or what. I only glanced at it. I mean, I could just, pull a Meltzer and just make it up, but
fuck it.
Yeah. It definitely said somewhere between 10, 0, and 100. It was one of them. Maybe.
Or maybe none of them.
Could not be. You heard it here first.
Spitballing.
But, yeah, again, if I can just say real quick, people are wondering, what is the heat on Meltzer? Why has this been getting stronger and stronger? Well, a couple days ago, I tweeted him again asking for for the Meanie Toons star rating, and that son of a bitch just ignored me. So now I'm getting to the point, anyone who follows me on Twitter at So Says Shernoff, you may be seeing what's popping up, that I am kind of like, I'd call it gently trolling Meltzer. When he does something that just irritates me, I just simply put a GIF or a meme in response to it. And, usually, so it's one of those things where it's like, if you want to block me, you can block me. But then you know that you're really blocking me because I posted a meme one time. Like, that's what I'm saying, gently trolling. Like, I'm not commenting on all those things. And it really has to be something that irks me. But, I mean, there was a while when they're announcing that AEW got over 1 million viewers, which, by the way, amazing for AEW, well-deserved.
Awesome. Yeah.
I instantly went looking for that Stan Marsh, on the internet where all the ghosts have come in, where he's just covered in... we'll call it plasm.
Yeah.
But no, I decided not to go that far because I'm not trying to, drag Meanie's name through the mud. But but I'm just, I keep asking him, hey, can we get that star rating? And he just ignores me. And he knows who I am. That son of a bitch. He knows who I am. Not saying not saying my name.
This is all very lighthearted.
Yeah. He knows what's going on, and he's just ignoring it. So, but no, it's not. I don't have any personal.
No, I love Dave. If it wasn't for Dave and his newsletter, I wouldn't have found half the wrestling school I went to, and he does good stuff. But like I said, if you're going to be a reporter, you got to put in the extra work and just not rely on fans giving you attendance numbers.
Yep. Yeah, no, I mean it's kind of easy if that's
you
your
call the
job.
office and go, hey, what was your attendance?
Yeah,
they'll tell you. But
anyway, that's what's going on with that. But
there's certain things are lazy.
Yeah. But so when I'm poking fun, that's why I'm poking fun, just so people know. Now, if he were to give us say like a 7-star rating or something, very easily he'd be my favorite guy. I can be bought very easily.
I'm easily bribable.
Yeah,
mostly with food and coffee. But
so back to the third party stuff. So what is your stance on this? Do you think the WWE saying their talent needs to stop doing this? Do you agree with it? Disagree with it? Somewhere in the middle?
Well, and I've heard, not through the grapevine, but I've heard talking that they're kind of maybe softening up on it a little bit,
because of the backlash from it.
Well, Vince said it. And then there's the backlash. And then Vince maybe went, let me talk to my folks. Yeah, he talks to his inner circle. Was I, we did that interview, me and you did that interview, and after the interview, we're like, hey, man, was that part a little bit too stiff? Or something like that. He probably made because we have our conspiracy theories of when it started. With AJ Styles announcing that he had COVID on his Twitch stream. Yeah. And the very next day, there was the edict, no more Twitch. Yeah. But I think maybe he like anybody would go, okay, why is this backlash? Let me get my people in here and talk. Mm-hmm. My theory is it's just I don't think he wants and this is just my theory. I'm not saying this is my analytical view. For Vince not wanting people to do like Twitch or Cameo and stuff like that, I think he's afraid somebody will do a Cameo where they'll have them endorse a product that's contrary to something that's already
sponsors
sponsoring WWE.
Right. They say something about how much they love Pepsi and Coke is sponsoring.
Is Coke's
WWE.
a sponsor?
Right.
What the fuck you doing? You know? That's my opinion. What I think they ought to do is say, okay, do Twitch under your shoot name, do Cameo under your shoot name. Mm-hmm. Here's a list of things. Please don't endorse these products because they're critical to WWE, which helps us pay you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, go out and have a side hustle. Look, we're not running as many shows. We're not using as much talent. You know, there's not much pay-per-view revenue. There's no house show money coming in.
Right.
Fine. Have your side hustle. Do the Twitch, do the Cameo, but please just use your real name and don't endorse anything that conflicts with WWE endorsements. And that's fair.
The next thing though was that they said that they own the rights to their real name while they're under contract as well. That, you know, and this is where I kind of look at it, and I think
that's just for, not to cut you off, I think that's for purposes of, you know, advertising or like when they do Total Divas and shit like that, where not that I watch, but they might maybe use somebody's real name,
right? And
so that talent can't sue them for using their like Brian Heffron, for shits and giggles. I'm the Blue Meanie. They have every right to use Blue Meanie while I work there. But if I go do one of the reality shows and they put Brian Heffron, knows that Blue Meanie, I can't sue them for putting my real name on TV, kind of thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and all of that also makes sense. And there are so many layers to this argument, to this discussion. Right. One of the things that I look at is, if you're looking at it purely from the WWE's point of view, right? It's kind of cut and dry in this way. They offer you a contract. You sign a contract. You agree to these things. Your lawyer has reviewed, hopefully, your contract. And this is it. And they say to you, to be employed by us, to be paid by us, this is what we expect, and this is what you're agreeing. Right. And in that regard, it's kind of a case closed conversation.
Sadly, yeah.
There is the talk of, how is something like this legal? They're independent contractors. But again, I circle back to their contracts. And I by no means am
we're not defending the contract.
Right. No, I'm not defending it. I also don't understand it as much as far more educated people would. But
they're the game in town.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we have AEW now. But before AEW came along, really wanted worldwide exposure.
Right. But like, for instance,
you signed a deal in hopes of that, you know.
If we had a parent company for Mind of the Meanie, right? And you and I both signed a contract that said, as long as you're doing Mind of the Meanie, you cannot do Twitch. You cannot do this. You cannot go do interviews with, Wrestling Inc. or something like that. You can't do any of this stuff as long as you're under contract with us. And if you and I took this contract and either read it ourselves or showed it to attorneys or whatever, and we looked at that and said, deal, and signed it, I mean, does that suck for us? Absolutely. That's not ideal. They're telling you can't do your Cameo or something like that. But if they give you a contract and say, hey, Meanie, you can't do Cameo if you sign this, and you go, sounds good to me, I'll sign it. Can you really then complain when they go, hey, remember that contract you signed where you said you wouldn't do Cameo? Well, we're kind of enforcing that. That's where I have a hard time. Now, there is the question, this is what I was saying, I don't know enough, and maybe you know more about it or maybe not, but I don't know if there's a conversation of whether or not it's illegal to have this in an independent contractor's contract.
Well, that's what... Go on, I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying that's something that I know, like Andrew Yang has kind of... And I would love to speak to him on So Says Shernoff, or even have him here on Mind of the Meanie and talk to him about it.
He just followed me on Twitter. Maybe I'll reach out. Absolutely.
See if he wants to maybe join onto the show next week or something. That would be great. Yeah. It's it's one of those things where I'd be curious. I'd be genuinely curious to know, because my first thought is, from a moral standpoint, you can argue all you want. You can say, we're during a pandemic. There are no house shows. Is now the time that you're going to tell your talent you can't get that side hustle money? You can't do whatever?
You got to read the room.
Right. That's from a moral standpoint. From a strictly cold-hearted business standpoint, you're looking at this publicly traded company going, these are the people we invest all of our money in. These are our commodities. Do we want to? It's almost the same as like I'm sure, the Phillies have the Philly Fanatic, right. And in a lot of ways, like Roman Reigns is WWE's Philly Fanatic, right? It's what they're. I mean, I know you could also say he's one of their players, but I get what I'm saying is it's a character, it's a personality. Can they? I don't know. It's
funny. I always called myself the Philly Fanatic of.
I mean, you're wrestling. Absolutely pro wrestling's Philly Fanatic without question. But
we need a 6-man tag shirt of me, the Fanatic, and Gritty, or something like that.
Yes, Andy. Andy, get that going and get us sued.
Andy, yes. Hey, I see all these Philly sports sites that
yeah,
cheesesteak teas and all that stuff. The way WWE controls their performers kind of reminds me of the music business.
Mm-hmm.
We hear about all these Motown artists who write the songs, sing the songs, go on tour, and even if the song makes $1 million, they're maybe $2 million in debt because of all the upfront money the radio label put up. And then later on, TLC, the band, not the match, they were very clever. They signed a deal. They wanted to, and they had all these big hits, Waterfall, all that stuff.
I was going to say, they knew not to go chasing waterfalls, so I have no question in my mind that these were clever people.
And then L.A. Reid or whoever, I think it was L.A. Reid, was like, oh, well, you made all this money, but you owe us this for touring expenses, blah, blah, blah. They'll send you out in a limo. You're thinking they're paying for the limo, but they're tacking you on for the bill. TLC went and filed bankruptcy and got out of their deal. And then they went on to make their next album, which they got all the shine and spotlight off that first record.
Very different contract, yeah.
So they made all money on the new deal after they broke the other deal by declaring bankruptcy.
Yeah.
So, each business has its share. Every form of business has its share of shitty deals.
Yeah.
Right. You sign. You hopefully you're. Me and Shane Helms just talked about how he got his WCW contract. He didn't even read it. He was like, yeah, whatever, because he had no. And a lot of people in the business really don't have any wiggle room, any bargaining power, because they discovered you. They're giving you the break for you to go, I want a little bit more. They go, oh, well, you can go away. And you're shit.
We've talked about this before. Like when I first started working with Fight TV, we had a deal that we signed a contract and everything for So Says Shernoff, and that was a separate thing. But when I started discussing with him about opportunities to do other things with Fight, which eventually led to the Fight and Focus stuff and doing things with AEW, originally it was like, we've got this thing. If you're interested in kind of, it was StarCast. It was like, if you want to kind of do some interviews for us and things like that. And I was like, oh, well, we're going to be in StarCast anyway. So if you need me to do anything like that, I didn't get paid it was StarCast too. I didn't get paid by Fight. I didn't get paid by Conrad. I paid my own way there off of money that I made from sponsorship on my show. I paid my own way to get out there, paid for my friends that came with me to get out there to do that stuff, and didn't get paid, didn't ask to get paid. Mm-hmm. But what happened was I never had to ask to get paid, because then they came to me for the next one. I had Fight, I had Conrad and people wanting to hire me for that work because I put in the work. And it's the same thing with like a Shane Helms. Well, Shane Helms' second contract he signed, I'm sure there was a lot more attention paid to that because Shane Helms had now gone in and said, here's what I'm worth. Now you guys have seen it. You paid me whatever you wanted to. You did whatever. Half the time, I'm sure he was spending more money than he was making on travel and things like that.
That's something a lot of fans don't realize. And I this is a little sidebar, but you hear somebody signs a contract for whatever. What a lot of people don't realize, whatever your downside guarantee, whatever you're doing, you're going to spend at least 50% of your income on taxes, accounting, and road, road fees.
Just road expenses,
Was that?
Road expenses.
Road expenses.
Car rental,
hotel, rental car, food, gym membership,
gas,
tolls. The only thing WWE covers is airplane ticket.
Yeah,
they'll fly you there. I was fortunate enough to get a TV deal where they paid for, like, if it was a Monday Night Raw, they paid for my hotel, and I stayed at a TV hotel, which was pretty sweet. Yeah.
Well, when was that? Was that 05 or was that 99?
05, they took care of me. They took, because of everything. They took care of the hotel, rental car, flight, everything.
But again, at that point,
as a make good.
Yeah, but again, at that point, but even looking at like 99 and stuff, you weren't this guy fresh out of wrestling school.
Right.
You were bringing a following.
Well, hence why I was smart enough not to fall for the second first class ticket.
Yeah, right. We've told that story before on here. Yeah, and it
the second contract you always make a little bit more. And like, hey, we're not the. I know not everybody's from the States, but here in Philadelphia, one of our top receivers, tight end Zach Ertz, he's hoping to get like an extension. Like, everybody's like, oh, well, he knew the contract he signed and all this and that and the other thing. He kind of outplayed his contract. So he wants to, maybe get a little bit more. Not being greedy. Give me a little bit more.
And the reality is, if they
he wants to retire an Eagle. And
that's the thing. If they give him a little bit more, I feel like that's only going to help them down the line. It's a good, good-natured gesture. But
I got off my point for that. But just a little something for fans to give them perspective. What wrestlers go through. I mean, if you work, you pay your state income tax, you pay your federal income tax. If you work in another state, you pay the tax for that state. Like most part, I would get something if I worked the same state twice or something like that. Right. The state would hit you. If you went there once, they really probably wouldn't send you a 1099. If you went there a second time, you get the 1099. So say you get a downside guarantee for $120,000 for the year. Say 50 to 55% of that is out the window.
Right.
For taxes, business expenses, and all that stuff. But then you got your home shit.
Yeah.
That whatever you got left over
you
goes
still
towards
have a mortgage or rent or whatever
car
it is,
payments.
Car payment.
Yeah. So it's not all. Dude, one time I was driving home and it was like 2004, 2005. And I was coming off 95, standing at the red light, and the car pulls up to me. And I roll down my window. Or somebody honks their horn. I roll down my window and go, hey, you're the Blue Meanie. And I'm like, yeah, hey, how you doing? I go, look at your car. I thought you would be a millionaire. And they drove the fuck off. And I just wanted to follow him and just pull him out of his fucking car. But like, I wasn't driving like a beater. I was driving like a decent car at the time. I was like, motherfucker. Yeah,
and I mean, well,
there's this preconceived notion. If you've been on TV one time, you made $1 million.
Yeah. It's not. I mean, it's just not the nature of how it is. And so many times, I've heard people say things like, when somebody will, like when a professional wrestler will, I don't want to even use the term complain, but for lack of a better term, when they'll complain, like, oh, it's not, our money gets cut down to this or that. I've heard in the past, like,
it's explaining.
And they go, well, why? They're like, well, then why are you doing it if it's so bad or whatever? And the answer normally is, well, I love this. There's nothing else I'd ever want to do. And then they go, well, you love it, and this is it. But that only goes so far. And that's what I think a lot of the conversation is.
The people who complain about movie stars, athletes, and saying they want more money are people who wish they could do what those folks do.
Right.
They're at their 9-to-5 job. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with 9-to-5 job, working hard, rolling up your sleeves, elbows, and assholes all day long, just working on a construction site.
Yep, nothing wrong with that at all.
But just because you wish you could make that much more money, and those folks have the position to make that much more money for what they're highly skilled to do.
Yeah, and that's kind of that's what it comes down to is
right.
I've always disliked that argument of, well, then just don't do it. It's like, first of all, well, thank you for telling me I can just go somewhere else. Like, that's the easiest thing. Talk to anyone else. Like, you tell that person, okay, you quit your job and go do something else. And they'll go, oh, well, I can't just quit. Yeah, exactly.
Everybody wants freedom of speech, except for when it's somebody else talking about their problems, right. And they just want them to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and I just think that it's
America,
always,
freedom of speech, but don't complain.
Yeah, unless you disagree with me.
Yeah.
And I've always looked at that and just said, and this is the conversation I think is happening, and it's been happening for a little while now, and John Oliver shed some light on it on his show with his independent contractor aspect of it, where you can look and you say, okay, these people, they're giving their lives to it. Why? Because they love it. Because you don't do something like professional wrestling unless you absolutely love it. And you go, and they're getting paid really well. And some of them are getting paid incredibly well. And some of them are getting paid a staggeringly low amount considering how equal they appear to be to someone else on television. And the reality is, there's nothing wrong with somebody saying, I'm here, I'm doing this, this is what I believe I'm worth, and I want to be treated as such. Because so-and-so gets this, that, and the other, and someone else is just deciding I won't. But if they want to call me and want me to do a 45-minute match and put somebody over, and someone else is going to do a 1-minute match and go over, and that person with a 1-minute match going over is making 10 times the amount of money that I'm making to do it, I think there's room for complaint on it. I think every single person on the show plays a very important part, and I think they can't all make the same amount of money across the board. But, look, and I know the union, SAG-AFTRA and everything in Hollywood is not by any means where you're going to go check that union out. They're perfect, Yeah. But there is a level of I don't know what I'm even trying to say. There's a level of it where you look at it and you say, okay, we're all making different amounts of money, but at least at the very least, we are being taken care of in this department, in that department, in a health insurance manner. And, so, and again, I'm sure somebody could school me on everything I'm saying and explain it differently to me, but at least how I'm viewing it, that's been my stance on it. So your stance pretty much is read the room. Now was not the time to have this conversation about the third party stuff. And
like I said, I think it happened with, the AJ Styles Twitch stream where he said he had COVID. And then, and that was like the second one first. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have said anything about I have every right to say that they have COVID. But Renee Young had announced on Twitter that she had COVID. And WWE was kind of like, I wish she didn't say that.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking because they wanted to have the moment where Renee's on TV going, I have COVID.
Yeah.
Enter dramatic music.
Yeah.
They wanted the rights to have her say that she had to struggle.
And look, they want to control the narrative of anything.
It's all about exploitation.
Yeah.
It's about
exactly.
And I'd be glad if they wanted to exploit me, exploit away.
Yeah. I think so. And if they exploit you, you need someone to carry your bags. I'm there.
Dude.
Travis asks, is it the case of WWE talent not reading their contracts well enough? I've heard Bubba Ray talk on Busted Open about getting a lawyer to read your deal. Is this something people aren't doing anymore? Well, first of all, I have no idea what anyone else is doing, but I will say this.
Let me speak to that when you're done. Go ahead.
No, all I was going to say is from other aspects of my shoot job, as they say, and work, in my professional life, having a lawyer look at a contract, especially a contract as detailed as a WWE, or what I would imagine a current WWE contract is, and from what I've seen looks to be, to have an attorney look at that is no small fee. That is a lot of money.
That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah. So there are
most
people
most of these guys coming off the indies are making $50 a night.
Yeah.
And most of that went towards gas and tolls and food, and so they essentially working in negative numbers.
Yeah. And they don't have
say, hey, get a lawyer and pay this fee. Okay, where can I get the money to pay for the lawyer for the fee to go to the?
Yeah. And then there's
unless
also
somebody's willing to work for pro bono for after you get signed or whatever.
And if WWE comes to you and says, hey, we're going to sign you to developmental, we'll send you to the PC, we'll do some stuff, our hope is NXT, all that stuff, and you look around and maybe you look at AEW, you look at MLW, you look at Impact, and all of them, they're like, we don't have anything for you right now. Well, what are you going to do? Go, well, you know what? I'll just sit back and keep making my $50 and that half of it's gone by the time I get home. Or you go, it can't be worse. It can't be worse than my current situation. And this is my goal. This is my dream. It's what I want out of my life. So you understand why people do that. And like we talked about with Shane Helms, how I'm sure his second contract was better than his first and was read over. But at the same time, by the time it comes to your second contract, you can afford an attorney or an agent or whatever it is at that point. And it's a different, so that would be, again, this is all conjecture and just my opinion. But it's fun to talk about and have a good conversation, especially with somebody like you, Meanie, who has actually had those contracts in two different eras. Yeah.
What a lot of, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, when you were, you've told the story before about when you got the call that you were going to get signed by WWF the first go around. Did you say, send me over the contract, I'm going to have my attorney look at it? Or did you say,
I kind of just showed up. I showed up, did the thing, and maybe 2 weeks later they gave me a contract, which it's kind of fucked up. If the things didn't work out and they fired me,
right? Paul
will be like, well,
But that's the thing where you looked at it and you saw the opportunity.
I was starving too, Well, look, WWE's the wrestling bug that bit me first. I wanted to work there. I wanted the opportunity.
Sure.
I had done a live Monday Night Raw when ECW invaded WWE. But that's dude, and I love ECW. I wish there was still an ECW today. I wish I could have stayed there forever and made a lot of money in ECW. But it took me 3 shows for ECW to do, I was making just for showing up to a WWE show. Because I had a TV deal where if you show up, they give you X amount. Every week I got a check for X amount. If I went to TV, I got X amount. If I went to Raw, I got X amount. If I went to SmackDown, I got X amount, whether they used me or not. If I went to a pay-per-view, I got X amount. If I was on the pay-per-view, 3 months later, I would get the royalty check for that, for X amount. So just I got paid more walking to the mailbox for WWE than I was making in ECW. So it was like a no-brainer. But and people are like, oh, get a lawyer to read your contract, which costs money. But what a lot of young guys don't realize is whatever you're making, and this is just good sound advice for anybody getting in the wrestling business. If you're an aspiring indie wrestler, whatever, and you get a chance to get signed and they 1099 you, take 50. First of all, get incorporated. A lot of guys don't know to do that. Get incorporated, fucking protect yourself, and have you get paid in check, have them write it to your corporation.
Yep.
But
now just so they know, not like corporation, not like incorporated, because nowadays you'd want to do like an LLC or like an LP or something.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't want people to get, all of a sudden indie wrestlers are listening. They're like, I'm going to do incorporated. Now that you're stuck having like corporation meetings and stuff like that.
No, get an LLC. And so, figure out. I know Delaware and Nevada is like the 2 best states to get incorporated as far as. Yeah. Or like WWE's incorporated in Delaware, even though they're
tax
based in
purposes,
Connecticut. For tax purposes. Yeah. If you're an independent wrestler, spend the money, here I am saying, oh, you can't afford a lawyer, but spend the money on an LLC.
Yeah, but that's only like $100.
But once you start making money,
yeah.
form an LLC. Once people start paying you a check, write it out to your LLC. Take 50% of whatever they fucking give you on that check, put it away in a sock drawer, put it in a bank account. Get 2 bank accounts, one for your LLC, and then pay yourself as an employee out of that. Mm-hmm. And that goes towards, house, rent, whatever. But you want to keep that money on the side for the biggest mistake is people with, the taxes, because they give you that money, but they're not doing any withholdings. And so these people are spending their WWE money like it's tax return day,
Yeah.
And then, IRS has them on speed dial.
Yeah, not anymore, because IRS is one of the people who got cut the other day.
Big ups, Rotunda.
Yeah.
Big ups. I love Mike Rotunda.
But it is one of those things where, and then you're looking at it too. You're an indie guy being offered a contract at the PC.
Yeah.
Are you really in a position to be like, what are you going to do? You're going to show it to your attorney. Your attorney's going to redline the whole thing and say, oh, ask for this, ask for that. No, you're not going to ask for that, because they're going to go, oh, no, thank you. We're not interested anymore.
But if you get a PC deal, it's like you're essentially getting paid to work out and train. So
it's a tough thing. And it's the longer you have the conversation, you can go through all the different ups and downs of WWE is doing this terrible thing to, WWE makes sense doing this, or, and that's why I think that's why I would love to talk to Andrew Yang about it and learn more from the strictly contract sense of it.
To talk after we're done talking, remind me, just hit him up.
Yeah.
Hopefully he gets back. He's been a hot topic.
Yes. Yeah. I know he's been busy. He's been doing some different shows and some wrestling.
Yeah, but to get him under our umbrella would be nice to talk to him.
That'd be awesome. Also, more than anything, it would be great to talk to him about that. And then I always love talking to people who you are not familiar with them because of pro wrestling, but they're a pro wrestling fan. And I would love to, pick his brain about that. But I do want to talk. We talked a lot about different times in wrestling. And that always makes me think of, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. But I'm not talking about Bret the Hitman Hart. I'm talking about some of the best wrestling T-shirts in the business right now over at Homage. Homage has you covered, all the styling and profiling, limousine riding looks from the rings of yesterday and today in super soft fabric and comfortable fits you can't get enough of. So Mind of the Meanie listeners, listen up, because we have got a coupon code for you. If you use the code MEANIE, you get 20% off your first order at homage.com. That's HOMAGE.com. But wait, there's more, because it's not just wrestling. They got such cool old school stuff. Meanie has been tweeting it out. The Raw's War and the Nitro shirt, which is so cool to be able, if you were... I've seen people tweeting about I got to get the Nitro one. That's what got me into wrestling. Or, oh, no, I was definitely a Raw guy. So that's a whole lot of fun there. But then, everything, man, I remember watching Nick at Night as a kid. Well, they got a Nick at Night shirt. They have so many great pop culture ones. Meanie, what are some of the ones that you've enjoyed looking at?
Look, I'm an old school Homage fan, or Homage, whichever you prefer. I think
it's Homage. Is what I've learned.
Hence is why I actually reached out to him and said, hey, would you like to support Meanie? And here we are. Great clothing, great comfortable clothing, great pop culture references. Like you said, I love their Nick and Night shirt. I popped because I lived in Ohio for like a year. They got Homage is based out of Ohio, so they got shirts for Cedar Park, a great amusement park there near Sandusky, Ohio. They have the Goonies shirt. They have NASA. They have Blockbuster Video shirt, which I actually might.
I know. I looked at that one.
Yeah, I saved a lot of money not returning my tapes to Blockbuster, so I'll just buy their shirt as a nice little make things even. Right here, one of my favorite shirts, Philadelphia Spectrum with the Sixers logo over the top.
So
of it.
cool.
Yeah, dude, I'm definitely gonna. I'm definitely going to have to use my own promo code MEANIE to save 20% on that one.
So many great brands that they have, from Budweiser to Grateful Dead, NASA, Nickelodeon, Ninja Turtles, The Office, Skyline, tops, and of course WWE, which encompasses so much of pro wrestling history. But things like tops, like you can get shirts that have some classic trading cards on them. Like it's just really, really cool stuff. Also, like Ninja Turtles. Everybody loves like an old school throwback in Ninja Turtles. Hey, Super Shredder, that was Big Kevin Nash. Yeah. So, you're still kind of supporting that wrestling thing. But yeah, you can go to Homage, HOMAGE.com. Use the promo code Meanie to save 20%. Go now, take a look. You are going to love everything that they have. You'll be scrolling for hours and hours. TV, movies, professions. Homage.com. Mind of the Meanie sent you. Meanie for 20% off. How about that?
Yeah, you hit the post.
Uh-huh. We can talk more about it now if you want to, but I looked over and I'm like, we only got a couple seconds left. I'm going to
dude.
rock that out.
Regular old Casey Kasem on that fucking
yeah. I'm doing that when I start talking really fast and just rambling on about the stuff.
I feel you.
So much cool stuff. Like
dude,
like
I seriously,
games and things.
I've been shopping there for years, and this is just my way of getting my money back. No, right. Seriously, if you go buy a shirt at homage.com and use promo code Meanie, they kick back to the podcast, and every dollar that you spend, every dollar they send us goes right back into production costs and hosting fees because. Mm-hmm. This ain't free, so we're
seltzer doesn't grow on trees, folks.
No, I wish. So. You see me, first time you ever see me climbing a fucking tree, but
oh man,
no, how much is so much good shit, man? Just comfortable clothes, creative clothes. Like you said, they have Skyline Chili, which is like a really cool place in Cincinnati, Ohio, stuff like that. So,
speaking of soft, comfortable things that you would put on your body. Can we talk a little bit about this Prince Albert parody that popped up recently online? I'm sure
all credit to Mrs. Meanie Tracy Root for posting the photo of Mia's.
When I saw that photo, I kind of when someone then shared the video, it kind of started like wheels were turning. Like I'm like, this seems familiar now.
Shout out to Richard Land who found the video and posted it on.
Oh my God!
He's got a great podcast called Our Vantage Point, and they talk about old WWE stuff like that. So he has the video. He posted the video once he saw Mrs. Meanie post the. What that photo was actually a production Polaroid, like when you go to WWE and they go to do your 8x10s and all that stuff. Back then, before digital cameras, they would take a Polaroid. And they took a photo of me as Prince Albert. I was like, "Can I have that Polaroid?" And then they let me have. I have a couple cool Polaroids. There's another one of me of Tooth Cold Scorpio in our Job Squad gear, just being goofy.
That's awesome.
But Mrs. Meanie, I had scanned it. I still have the Polaroid somewhere, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's right." And I was like, "Oh man, I hope so we can find it." And Richard Land, being the man, with the videos and stuff. We have so many cool followers. Richard Land, Pro Wrestling Gifts, and the other pages. Not his, but his Pro Wrestling Gifts. They do really cool gifts of mine and the Meanie and
like
stuff.
Put
like
our,
that. I want to give everybody
our
a
faces
shout out, or
on.
I'll feel guilty.
They put our faces on Charles Robinson running, and then
so good.
Followed it up with Titus O'Neil, which was hilarious because I actually showed it to some of my friends. We do a. We'll hop on like a Zoom call or something just so we can stay in touch during the apocalypse. Mm-hmm. And I showed them on the screen. I'm like, dude, did you guys see this? This is hilarious. And one of them goes, they got to put your head on Titus O'Neil. And it was like magic. There it was. And I'm like, did I leave my my like stream on or something here? Like they knew what was going on. But so cool. But
why, pal?
Yeah. But no, really.
The Prince Albert thing.
Just, man, that was amazing.
Tell me your thoughts on it.
All right. Well, I mean, my thoughts on it was hilarious. I love the fact that you had these like giant clumps of fur just like all over your back and your chest and everything. The gear, I was actually going to ask you about that. Was that something that they threw together quickly to look like his, or was it like
that was his?
Okay, that's what I was wondering. And it was great. I mean, as time, like at first, like you were unrecognizable. As time went on, and the bald cap was coming off, and there's blue hair underneath, you know. But it was so
which
cool.
is unintentional, but it actually worked out for the better.
But it's so funny because it's weird. Like I never would have remembered that had you asked me to list, you know, make a full, complete list of everything I could remember. But
I forgot about it.
Well, I was gonna say, but after seeing it, I was reminded that it was like one of the funniest things I'd seen. It was awesome. So yeah, what was your experience like doing that?
Dude, like I said, that's why I love this podcast, because it brings up so many memories. Mrs. Meanie found the photo, posted it. I was like, shit, I posted the video, and it's brought all these different memories up. I'm trying to think of, I'm sure I could go to historywwf.com and find out what the date was. But it was Stevie Richards against Prince Albert. Matt Bloom, who helps run the WWE PC.
Yep.
Great guy, great athlete. I love Matt Bloom, a.k.a. Prince Albert. Genuine guy. Back when, to flash back to a previous subject, when WWE would let us do third-party bookings, one time I did a show in Boston for this guy, Mike Spada. It's Mike Sparta, but we would call him Mike Spada because he's from Boston. And me and Albert were on the show, and like I stayed at his house for a week and I just hung out, and just one of my favorite memories about wrestling. He had a house on the beach, and went to the beach, went to his neighbor's house, was cooking his big Italian meal, went out and hung out. So nice. Me and Albert already had this rapport together, so this bonding experience and stuff like that. I love that guy. Love him to death. I don't even remember them pitching it, but I remember that day going, "You're going to be Prince Albert," and luckily Albert, brought extra gear, and what you didn't even see in there too, that I had like fake piercings that they just glued to my face. They fake, like little studs coming out of my thing like his. And they're like, yeah, well, you need body hair. So, Richie from Magic had they have every type of wig. So they got like an Afro wig and just
cut it up,
cut off clumps and just glued them on me. Right. Which they're doing in the hallway. Like there's like there's a radio, like if you, go to a sporting event and they have like a media day and there's like a radio row, how they have like all the radio stations, the backstage at WWE, which I'm sure you've seen, they have like this row of everything. Richie from Magic, makeup, wardrobe, all these, like it's a hallway. So I'm in the hallway. Albert reaches in, gets me his gear. I put it on first to see if it fits, which thank God it did. He's bigger. He's a mountain of a man, so thank God they fit. Yeah. And so I want to say either one of the makeup ladies helped cut the little pieces of hair and glued them to my body, which looked great for TV, but it was the biggest fucking rib trying to get that shit off. And that shit was fucking itchy too. I mean, man. Holy shit! If it's like it was the only thing I can relate it to is like insulation, having insulation on you. Just all this stuff to glue to you. It
was your hair shirt to bear.
Yeah. And the funny, I had my issues with JBL back then, Bradshaw, when they were in APA. And there was a point where him and Ron walk around the corner and watching them glue it to me. And he stopped in his track and just looked at me like, what am I watching? And I looked at him. I just did put my hands up like, that's my Undertaker moment when he goes, the things we do.
Yep.
So yeah, they're gluing it on me, and it was Stevie's match, but like, the fact that I was dressing up like Albert and getting it glued on me, all that shit glued on me, was great. And I was like, fuck, what do I do? Character wise, Albert, was pretty straightforward character, and
very stoic, very
Yeah.
Big monster just came out and just kind of
his actions spoke more than, he didn't really need to say anything. His actions spoke bigger, more than words. Now there, a little backstory. There's this wrestler from Canada named Johnny K9 who wrestled in. He was a WWE enhancement guy, job guy back in 80s, 90s, and he's like one of the most moreover job guys because, ladies and gentlemen, Johnny K9. He would drop to his knees and do this thing like like he had this
got himself over.
He got himself over.
Good,
but him. Dangerous man. He was part of a biker gang, known for blowing up a police station.
Sure.
Johnny K9.
What?
Yeah, he blew up a fucking police station. He was part of a biker gang.
Okay. Was this proven? Because I feel like usually you get in trouble.
Oh, there's articles about it.
Was he imprisoned for this?
They couldn't pinpoint it on him. Eventually, he went to he did time in prison.
Okay.
Here's Johnny K9,
Bruiser Bedlam. Travis says Bruiser Bedlam.
Bruiser Bedlam in Smoky Mountain.
Yes.
But he was a famous WWE job guy, Johnny K9, and then stuff like that. He's legendary, amongst the boys, because all the boys would have, either Johnny K9 stories, like Iron Sheik stories,
right?
Like these legendary things, or an impersonation of Johnny K9. Hey, buddy, how much you bench? You a man of iron? You respect the iron? You a 6-plate man? You a 5-plate man? No, you're a bitch. Put your hand in my back pocket. You're my girlfriend now. Shit like that. He had a tattoo across his stomach saying "True to the Crew" because one time he was in prison, and him and his guy, I don't know, bunkmates or whatever in prison. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll get out. We'll all get these "True to the Crew" tattoos and all that stuff. And Johnny gets out of prison, and he hadn't gotten the tattoo, and his buddy called from prison. Hey, I'm getting out tomorrow. Let's hang out. So he ran to the tattoo shop and got "True to the Crew" across his stomach.
Oh, man.
And, dude, we were talking about, how, the thing with me and JBL, I was like, dude, I wrestled Johnny K9 as Bruiser Bedlam for Scott D'Amore's Border City Wrestling. Mm-hmm. And, dude literally, annihilated me. To the point where, I walked through the curtain, and he's standing there right there. Oh, sorry, buddy. Hey, sorry, bro. You okay? Hey, buddy. Hey, bro. That's, me and Balls Mahoney and Val Venus would always do Bruiser Bedlam stories. Balls Mahoney knew him from Smoky Mountain when Balls was there as Boo Radley. Hey, buddy. Hey, bro. You man of iron. Me and you naked in the ditch covered in gun grease. You got my back. He would just have these lines that you would just do. And he did horrible things, but when you're around him, you can't help but kind of like watching The Godfather. Goodfellas. These guys did horrible things, but there's something romantic about it. You're like, oh man, these guys are so funny. They're great. And,
oh man,
yeah, they killed people. But Johnny was a great guy, and hence when I went to go do Prince Albert, me, Al, Val, Venus had been telling them, a lot of these boys about fucking Johnny K9, Bruiser Bedlam. Bruiser Bedlam would go into like Smoky Mountain. There's Walmarts all over. He'd walk into a Walmart, kick off his flip-flops, put a new pair down, put his feet in them, spread them apart so that little tab goes to walk out. Sir, you got to pay for it. Sandy says it's okay, and keeps walking. Sandy, the booker for Smoky Mountain. Sandy said it was all right. I'll see you later. And nobody would stop him. He would just put on new flip-flops, walk out, and, hey, buddy, hey, bro. Sandy says it's good. And just keep going. They're like, who's Sandy? And by the time they figure out Sandy, there's no fucking Sandy. He's in this car, and he's fucking on to the next fucking gig or whatever.
Oh, man. That story, I don't know if maybe you told me that before. That sounds vaguely familiar.
Dude, go on YouTube and do, Johnny K9 Bruiser Bedlam stories. Every one of the boys who met him got a story.
Oh,
Al Snow, maybe D'Lo Brown, definitely. Well, Balls Mahoney, God rest his soul, had plenty of stories. And he would do these incredible feats of strength, like on Smoky Mountain. They had him, hold back a car with his legs. The tires are spinning, blah blah blah, breaking beer bottles over his head. he held. I know we're talking about Albert, but I got put over Bruiser Bedlam. He had like strongman records where he would do behind the neck presses of like 500 pounds, shit like that, just like poof, poof, poof. And he had this big drum from all the powerlifting. He's like, you looking at my drum? He would just he would just fuck with people. The night we fucking I did the match with him and he beat the shit out of me. We're in the locker room. He just sits down butt naked, puts a cigarette in his dick, lights it up, and puts sunglasses. It goes, Bobo wants to have a cigarette. Shit like that.
Wait, I'm sorry. He put a cigarette in his dick?
Yeah, he put a cigarette in his dick, lit it on fire like it was his dick was smoking, put sunglasses on, and was like, hey.
Are you talking like hooking it in some form of like a foreskin situation or straight into the gimmick hole?
Yeah, it was an aardvark situation.
Okay. I'm just.
But I have to tell all these Bruiser Bedlam stories
one
because
is weird and impressive in a way, and the other one just sounds like not a good cath.
No.
So, okay.
But when me and Al had been telling Bruiser Bedlam Johnny Canine stories. I got one more. I know I keep
dude.
Fucking story. Johnny Canine's riding this fucking motorcycle. He's in the biker gang, and somebody ran a light and fucking he gets T-boned. Does like a triple Indy over the fucking car of the hood. Lands. Fucking laying there, almost dead. Like you probably figure you put a chalk outline around the guy. Lady gets out, freaks out. Oh my god, hit somebody, I'm sorry. And she goes to walk to her, and he starts doing like a Terminator crawl, like, oh, I'm gonna get you. And the lady gets in the car, calls the cops. Oh my god, I killed somebody. Like the guy was indestructible. I mean, later on he went on to pass away, but he was in the halfway home by then, I guess, for all the crimes he did.
Yeah.
So
catch us up with you kids.
For the 8th or 10th time. We had been telling these stories our whole time in WWE. So it was like, unbeknownst to Albert, I come to the ring, and I'm doing Johnny Canine the whole time I'm walking to the ring.
Is that the,
watch that
the thing like that you're doing?
Yeah,
and like,
yeah. 5 plates, man. 5. He put his hands out, smack his chest. Yo, 5-plate, man. Yo, 5-plate, man. You respect the iron? No, you're a bitch. And all this stuff. So, I didn't say that.
I got to go back and watch it.
Yeah, watch it, because the whole time I'm walking down, I'm doing I got imaginary lats. You see those guys walking in their gyms. They're walking. Yeah, imagine. I call it imaginary lat disease. ILD or whatever, imaginary lat. So I start doing that, and that was Albert's briefcase. I guess he walked the ring with a briefcase. I walk out with his briefcase. I'm doing the walk, and I'm just quoting Johnny Canine, Bruiser Bedlam the whole time, trying to make Albert in the ring laugh. You hear me go, you respect the iron? Are you a 5-plate man? 5-plate man? And so I do a little twirl around just so he could see the hair on my back, and I'm trying to make him laugh. And take Matt Bloom's credit, he no-sold. And that's where, Stevie comes up, Albert gives him the chop to the throat, and he takes the bump and accidentally low blows him.
Yeah. Which was a nice. When I saw that, I was like, man, I haven't. Like, that's a nice move there. You can do it, and you don't get disqualified. You don't make Jimmy Cordero. Shout out to him, great referee. He does ref and rants on Twitter. He was the referee for that match, and it's cool because you can take the bump, kick the guy in the nuts, but you don't get DQ'd because it was just like the course of you taking a bump. It was an accidental. Yeah. Thing like an accidental cool lobo in boxing, Yeah, but it was a cool spot.
Great spot. I
like seeing that. Yeah.
And he rolled out, and they wanted us to do like the Killer Beast switcheroo, where he rolls out on the floor. I put the boots to him, and as I'm putting the boots to him, go back and watch this. It's Michael Cole and Kevin Kelly on play-by-play. And, I think Cole says, Meanie putting the boots to Albert. And then Kevin Kelly goes, look at Meanie putting the hooves to the Blue Meanie, which is a reference to when my balls fell out on Raw.
Oh.
It's a little inside baseball. I told the story before when WWE wanted me to be the Raw boy. And Goldust set me up for the Shattered Dreams kick. And while I'm waiting there in the cradle position, I look up and my nuts fall out.
Sure.
So we go to the back, and me and Dustin, I'm in the bathroom wiping off my face paint and all that stuff, and Dustin comes in and goes, "Hey, man, thank you. Man, your balls fell out, huh?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "They look like a cow giving birth, like two hooves were coming out of your trunks." So when, I'm putting the boots to Albert, Kevin Kelly goes, "Blue Meanie putting the hooves to Prince Albert," which was just like an inside reference.
That's awesome.
And I love Kevin Kelly as a person, but also an announcer. Anytime I did something like all kind of offense, he would go, "Look at the Meanie!" That was his thing. "Look at the Meanie!" Kevin, whether it was on Shotgun, Velocity, or whatever show, if Kevin Kelly was doing a play-by-play, when I was making my fiery comeback or lukewarm comeback, he would go, "Look at the Meanie go!" So he hits the, "Look at the Meanie," putting the boots to him.
That's hilarious.
So I was like, I got to do, I do the switcheroo. And just to pop myself and pop the boys in the back, I put the boots to Albert, kick, and I roll in position where Albert had just been. And I put my left leg up as if to say, "Okay, hook my leg." So when Stevie comes, I roll my back, kick my left leg up, perfect positioning. Now, and Stevie, he almost popped. I almost popped Stevie on this too. I was like, I'm in the business for myself. I roll in, kick my leg up, like rigor mortis set in, and Stevie hops over, grabs the leg instinctually because I put it there for him immediately. And Jimmy Corderas comes, does the 1, 2, the Killer Bees spot, right? And Albert pulls Stevie out and does something to him, and I'm in the ring, and that's where I start doing more Bruiser Brown, like, "Come on, you want to fight?" I'm just randomly quoting Johnny Canine during the whole thing. So he goes to throw a clothesline, a duck, and there's a little goof there with our timing where he went to clothesline me, and I go to shoot him. He reverses me. Something goofy happened. That's why I don't watch myself wrestle too much, because I get mad at myself. I see like something was goofy with my footwork going into the roof, but it still worked out.
Right.
And he gave me the bicycle kick, and that's where I did the
kind of like a sit up bump, and
What's that?
The bump you took on that.
Oh yeah, I took the bump, but I turned around and like popped up to my knees just to give it a little like like a little and out, and then the rest of the match happens where Stevie does the Stevie kick. It looks like minor fish. We did it to build it to make it look like minor fish interference. Cost Albert a match, Stevie to win, whatever. But Albert kicks out, and but on the outside, I realized most of the jewelry that was on my face, glued to my face, had this fallen off. So I'm on the floor, like trying to, so I could give it back to Janet, the makeup lady, and stuff like that. And then the finish of the match happens. One of my favorite parts is like right before I hop in for Stevie to pin, you hear a fan go, "Get a Meanie!" or something like that, which I hadn't noticed the first time around. So we finished the match, 1, 2, 3, and that's it. And then me and Stevie head back to up, through the gorilla position and all that stuff. And that's where Terry Taylor meets us at the curtain, or like, right as you leave the gorilla position. He goes, "Guys, I want to," I'm saying this not to put myself over, but I'm putting it over because Terry Taylor is like one of the most critical guys. Mm-hmm. He doesn't give a fuck about your feelings. If something sucked, he will say. He won't sugarcoat. "Oh, well, you did good, but you could have." He'd be like, "Well, no, that was horrible, blah, blah, blah." But this time, and he's done it to me before, like matches I thought were really good, he would be critical, break it down. You go, "Oh, shit, maybe I'm not that good. Maybe I don't know how to wrestle." But this time he pulls us out. "Guys, congratulations. That was one of the most entertaining segments on the show." The boys at the monitor were horse laughing. Like, they were laughing so hard that, like, they were like, just.
That's awesome.
And that's all you want. You want to be entertaining and have moment. I don't give a shit if I win or lose. Let me have a moment.
Yep.
And that was our opportunity to have a moment once. And I totally forgot it was on Sunday Night Heat. Mm-hmm. When I asked for somebody on Twitter, after Mrs. Meanie posted the photo, I was like, man, I hope somebody can find it. It was on, I thought it was initially on Shotgun. But no, we were on the USA Network. And I think they taped that right before SmackDown because the ropes were blue for that Sunday Night Heat. So it was at a SmackDown for Sunday Night Heat that they taped for the following Sunday to come, which makes sense because it wouldn't be for the previous Sunday.
Only we would record things for the previous Sunday and do it 2 weeks prior for it to air after, but also before.
That's the George Carlin and me going, this was taped before live. Of course it's taped live. What are we going to do? Tape it before? And of course it's live. But, and we got so many compliments for that. And that's one of the few times, one of the times I was really happy with a performance. I was really happy with the feedback from Terry Taylor and the rest of the locker room. And Albert was awesome about it. I posted the clip on Facebook. I posted it on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I posted on Facebook, and Albert, a.k.a. Matt Bloom, was one of the first people to comment on it. He put put a smiley face, 3 exclamation points, that says, good times. I was like, well, thank you for being cool with me, wearing your gear, Yeah. Hopefully. It was cool. He had extra gear and stuff like that. So, and then we did the photo shoot with with Al and had the Polaroid and all that stuff. But yeah, what a fun match! Thank God for Mrs. Meanie. She's looking for stuff for her fun packs. We came across that photo and posted it.
Was so cool to see.
I forget I do half these things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially with all like the parodies and stuff. They're the ones that kind of stand the test of time, like the Kiss. BWO's Kiss. But these other ones can sometimes, and I'm sure with like Stevie too, he did so many parody things on his own. He kind of went through that run where he was, and some of them could be kind of forgettable, but then you go back and watch it and you go, that's pretty hilarious. I remember Big Show did parody things. So sometimes with those, in the moment, it's kind of like that was fun. That was a good laugh. But when you go back 20 years later, you're like, that was pretty freaking hilarious. That was like, like sometimes in the moment, it doesn't even set in as being more than just, haha, that was funny. And this was one of those that I was just looking at. I'm like, this is amazing. This is so everybody go, Meanie had tweeted it out. Go on at Blue Meanie BWO and at Mind of the Meanie. We retweeted it as well. And it was just really, it was really cool. So there's some good stories about that too. We got some good stories today.
Yeah. We had done other parody. We did the Blonde Bitch Project, which unfortunately never aired.
Yeah.
Mrs. Meanie was going through some photos for fun packs, and there was a photo of me and Stevie doing the American Males. We did it like a couple times just for house shows.
I never saw that. That's amazing. So what were your names?
The amazing part is Scotty Riggs was there for one of them, and he was just like, Scotty Riggs put me and Stevie over for our parody of American Males.
Did you guys have like names for?
I totally forget what our names were. I'm sure if there's like somebody has the fan cam of that show, I'm sure it's on it. It might have been on TV too, because I got the photo and it looks like we had the TV lights up. But that's the run when Bulldozer Brian Lee was in Raven's Flock. And me and Stevie would be just doing goofy shit. Like one night at Lulu Temple, or we were Colonel DeMeanie and Stevie was Baron Von Stevie. I was Colonel DeMeanie as Colonel De Beers. And Raven's in the ring sitting in his corner, and he throws his hair over his face, and he's just sitting there, like Jake the Snake Roberts. Me and Stevie were doing something real goofy, and Brian Lee is such a funny dude. He leans into Raven. He goes, "They're fucking killing me." Yeah, and you see Raven, who's supposed to be like the stoic guy, and you see his shoulders start fucking going. We're looking at her, I was like, what the fuck's going on over there? He's like, Raven's laughing so hard because Brian Lee's like, they're fucking killing me. Yeah, but he's got that southern accent. He's got that very dry, tone, not dry tone, but he's like, they're fucking killing me, man. There's part Tracy Smothers imitation there, but yeah, we got to do so many cool things. Cool parodies, BlueDust, Colonel DeMeanie, Stevie Richards, the Blue Meanie Bloods, where we wore we were Steve Regal and Bobby Eaton when they were the
Blue Bloods. Yeah.
The Blue Bloods. So me and Stevie were the Blue Meanie Bloods.
That's awesome.
I was Bobby, and we looked nothing like them. We came out in powder wigs, the colonial hats. We had our shirts that said Sir Meanie, Lord Stevie, and we had our crests on the back.
Well, you wore that Sir Meanie
a couple times.
Yeah. Like, I've definitely seen that. You were wearing that during the YMCA debacle.
Yeah.
I believe.
I was like, fuck, I might as well get use out of this somehow.
Seriously.
And and my we had our family crests on the back and all that stuff. So a lot of reminiscing over the last few days between Mrs. Meanie finding that Polaroid, and then she's doing her thing for the fun packs, and I don't even want to spoil it, but she's got some fun stuff coming up down the line that we're going to be promoting in the next couple of weeks. And shout out I know you're here live on Patreon, and if you're listening Monday, go to our YouTube page where Mrs. Meanie talks about her Funko Pops.
Yes, that's an awesome video.
We just put it up yesterday. We put it up on Funko Friday. Which Mrs.
Friday
made us aware of. Yeah,
it was on Patreon Wednesday. Our Patreon members were able to check it out 2 days early, which is always fun. And also, breaking news, you will be able to, it looks like So Says Shernoff this month may be a couple days early to Patreon members of Mind of the Meanie. Might get a chance to watch it prior to it airing on Fight TV. So,
I mentioned to see a new one because I love that show. I love what you do on it.
Thank you.
It's really fun, man.
Thank you. Yeah. Somebody sent me a tweet asking, what can we expect in this month's episode? And I wrote back, I have no idea.
Much like the podcast.
Because I haven't written it yet. But we'll see. We're still ironing out who, I think we're going to have a guest, so we're still kind of ironing out who that's going to be. But Mrs. Meanie had an awesome, her Funko Pop video, which is up at youtube.com/Mind of the Meanie. Go check it out. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that little bell. I will say we've got some more things coming soon that you're going to want that notification on that YouTube channel.
Patreon's going to definitely find out before the rest of the world.
Yes. But definitely want to check that out. You talked about reminiscing, and I feel like that's a perfect time to talk about these fine folks over here. Retromania, the video game.
Amazing stuff they're doing over there.
So, as we know, one of the first people to ever announce that he was going to be a part of this game was the Blue Meanie himself. This is the first video game to ever feature the entire BWO. Retrosoft Studios is a video game development company creating modern games with a retro feel. And Retromania Wrestling is the official sequel to the 1991 arcade hit WrestleFest, which I spent many a quarter on that at Challenges in the Willow Grove Mall. It's set to release for the PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. This game, there are so many people in it from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. You got future people. The first ever downloadable character that was mentioned is the one and only Chris Bay is in there. But we also have a roster full of people from the past, like the Road Warriors. You have Animal and Hawk. There's Austin Idol. Then, of course, you've got Big Stevie Cool, the Blue Meanie, and Nova. But then how about Brian Myers and Matt Cardona? Colt Cabana is in there doing double duty because Colt Cabana, along with Ian Riccoboni, will be on commentary for this game. Jeff Cobb is a part of it. Johnny Retro will be in there. Of course, the national treasure himself, NWA World Champion Nick Aldis is going to be in there. Nikita Koloff. You've got Tommy Dreamer and Warhorse is going to be in there. Zack Sabre Jr. and so many more. And the exciting thing about that is you've got people now from ECW. You got people who were in WCW. You have people from old school WWF. You have people from the NWA in the past. And you have AWA wrestlers. You've got current AEW wrestlers, Ring of Honor wrestlers, Impact stars. It is a who's who. Everybody that's in there. I personally happen to be in this game myself as well. We've announced in the past. I am the official ring announcer for it. So I know some people that I've actually recorded for that haven't been announced yet. It just keeps getting better. I put a little extra stink on the Blue Meanie announcement, but it's just so exciting, and we wanted to take an opportunity to just talk about this game. You can go and pre-order this game now. Go to retromaniawrestling.com for all the information you could ever want to find about this. It is just a super cool game. That old school feel with the new school kind of energy behind it, if you will. And I was able to have the creator on my show on So Says Shernoff, and he talked about some of the really cool aspects of it, how back in the day you had this concern of how many people can we fit, how many sprites can we fit on the screen at once, and all that. Those aren't really concerns with today's technology. So there are going to be a lot of different arenas as well, Meanie. There's Warhorse has an arena. Pro Wrestling Tees has one. The old the NWA Power set is going to be on there as well. And I know that they're hoping to have more and more arenas down the line. I feel like I could see eventually a downloadable BWO, maybe even a Mind of the Meanie. Who knows? That's just conjecture. But I think that could be really cool. Meanie, what is your feeling on this game? What would you like to share with everybody about it?
Dude, it's amazing that in 2020 I'm going to be in a brand new video game that, people around the world are going to be able to play. I grew up a big gamer, still a big gamer. I always loved playing sports. I love playing wrestling. And the fact that, I spent so many, like you said, we spent so much time and money playing WrestleFest to be a part of the official sequel. It's so flattering. This has been like 2 years in the works now. And right before we came on, I was watching the latest developers vlog, which Mike Herman has over there on YouTube on the official Retromania Wrestling YouTube channel. And they're in the final stages, and it's going to come out. I mean, it's supposed to be out in July, but like with everything going on with the world, we're in a new world. They're in the final stages of putting this out. You can pre-order it now. My favorite part is just like the old, getting a mix of old school and new school wrestlers. And I love the arenas. My favorite arena happens to be, I'm a little biased here, is Timer Dreamer's House of Hardcore, which is
yes,
unofficially the 2300 arena / ECW arena. I love that. I love the Pro Wrestling Tees warehouse feel. I just like the different feels.
A lot of time and creativity went into putting this game together, and continues to go into putting this game together. And yeah, it got held off a little bit, but I think we're all hoping by the end of the year. And if you think you as a fan are hoping to get it out, trust me, the developers are hoping to get this thing out as soon as possible, but they don't want to rush it. They don't want to rush it and have people go, it wasn't that great, because they know how good it can be and how good it should be, and they're going to make sure that it is. So go to retromaniawrestling.com and check that out.
Yeah, man. Such a cool game. I got to play the rough version of that. With the what they call them, the jobbers, the plain guys.
It's the pink pants, whatever guy in there.
Yeah, it's such a fun game. It's like a good old fashioned button masher. I mean, you can be skillful about it, or you can be just like a young Blue Meanie has been. I call when I play too many video games, I get Nintendo thumb from playing, and you'll definitely get some Nintendo thumb playing the game. Mike Herman's been really good to me as far as like input and stuff like that with all the wrestlers, and I even pitched it. Now, hopefully he does it. I pitched maybe having an old school stadium in there or something like that.
That would be cool. That'd be really cool.
Me and him, he's from the area, just like us. And he's a Philly sports guy. I was like, man, that'd be great if you could put like a vet stadium in there or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, just a real good guy working really hard on this.
Who any of the announcers are in the game?
Wait a minute.
Mind of the Meanie, Mrs. Meanie round and Tracy Roots got something to say. Hey, hey, hey.
The announcers?
Is it over? I just wanted to ask, Blue Meanie, do you know who any of the announcers in the game are?
Well, I just happen to be working with my co-host happens to be part of the show.
What?
The game, so to speak.
Oh my!
It's true.
That must be a very exciting thing for you, Josh Shernoff.
It is so exciting that they would lower themselves to have me in this game. It is I'm so excited for it. Thank you for putting me over. Appreciate that.
That's what Mrs. Meanie's good at, man.
Yeah.
Reminded me of stuff, you know.
The Mrs. Meanie run in to put me over. I appreciate that very much. They're also going to have
big fan.
The NWA World Heavyweight Championship, the NWA Tag Team titles, the House of Hardcore TV title, and more championships in there. That they have confirmed the wrestlers will wear to the ring, which is really cool. So there's a lot of updated stuff that you wouldn't have found in the original game. But also, I will encourage people to go over, and I wish I remembered which episode it was. Was it last month? Is that right? Was it last month's episode?
Yeah, your very last So Says Shernoff. Because I went to watch it thinking it was a new video. I was like, I've seen
okay. So it would have been our August episode of So Says Shernoff, where I had Mike Herman on, and he talks about how they ended up becoming the official sequel. So it's really interesting, and so definitely check that out. But definitely check out retromaniawrestling.com. They need, RJ says they need a Mrs. Meanie run-in for the game. That would be hilarious. That would be great. When the Meanie's standing there, he forgets how to do a move, so Mrs. Meanie runs down the aisle and reminds him.
Yeah, she teaches me.
That's awesome. But so we wanted to have the opportunity to just kind of talk about that game, and man, I am so excited for that game.
It can't come soon enough, dude. Like I said, I'm a big gamer, and the fact that it's going to be on PS4 and all that good stuff. So
really cool, and that was something. There are always these things that when you tell people who don't really follow wrestling, don't really know whatever, like they don't really get what it is that you do, and especially for me, since I'm not a wrestler, they're like, what is, wait, you're in wrestling, but you're like, what do you do? And people, I don't know that anyone finds it, people are like, oh, that's kind of neat. It's kind of cool. When you say you're going to be in a video game, they're like, oh, that's cool. Like, that's, fun. Like, whatever. When you say it's going to be.
Perk right up.
Yeah, but then when you go, oh, yeah, it'll be, they're like, oh, it'll be on Nintendo Switch and Xbox and PlayStation. Then they're like, oh, so you're like doing something real? Like, like this isn't. Yeah. This isn't just some things like, oh, yeah, my buddy's making it and putting it on Twitter, but, and this day and age, I mean, everyone can make an app and everyone can do whatever, but everyone except for me. I don't know how to do that stuff. I just asked my brother.
Fred Word.
But hey, you know what? I was thinking what could be fun to do at this point, because this has been a really fun show. Would you like to ask Meanie anything?
I would love to. It's time to ask Meanie anything.
Let's do it.
I would never not pop for that.
First question comes from me. By way of my good friend Matt Mangle, who I was talking to earlier today, and said, you got to ask the Meanie if he knows Mark Mest.
Yeah, I know Mark Mest.
Okay.
Of the Mest family.
Of the dungeon.
Yes.
So Mark, we rented the ring from him when we were when we would run shows, and we would train up at the dungeon, like when we'd work over matches or do things like that. The dungeon, which was in I can't remember if he lives in Blandon or if the dungeon was in Blandon, Pennsylvania. But Mark and his brother Troy, they're up there. And Mark Mest is, if I can paint you guys a picture, he is a large man.
Yeah.
And he, but was always so great to work with, and always enjoyed just kind of hearing.
He's a throwback. He's kind of like a throwback to the Haystack Calhoun of the business. Great guy, sweetheart of a man.
Always found it amazing that he was able to move the way that he moved. Mark, There's so many great memories that I have of them. Like Troy messed one time where he would talk about we're doing some stuff. Somebody threw kind of a weak punch in the ring.
Yeah.
And I mean, they weren't like training us. We were just there working out and doing stuff. But they would pop in and give us, they'd been around the business for a long time and would give us some insight. I remember Troy was like, if I go in there and somebody did something like this, he's like, I'd take my fist and I'd take my knuckle out and I'd punch him right in the head. And he was like, and he was so intense with it. And like, I just never forgot that. And we had one time, we felt so bad. We rented the ring from them and they would always work our shows too. When, they would bring the ring and they'd set it up and then they worked the shows. It was great. They always came out to the Hollywood Blondes theme music.
Such a great theme.
But we went one time, and I remember we had a hardcore match between these two characters. It was Lukewarm John Brody, who we've mentioned before once on the show, and he was against Sassy Mike Malassie, my friend Mike, and so Sassy Mike Malassie was a character that was a cross between the real life Mike Green, who was a guy I was one of my best friends from high school. He had the dancing moves of Joel Gertner, with the kind of the arms going like that, which was great because then Joel came in and actually worked with him on commentary. So that was fun to have the two of them together.
Two worlds collide.
And the third ingredient was the Blue Meanie because Mike wore a cutoff shirt. And so it was kind of like a bunch of little things that we like loved at that time period. So he was definitely a shout out to the Blue Meanie. But Mike his character was really all about food. So when it was a hardcore match, he came out with a shopping cart, but he had like food in the shopping cart. So he was doing, we always tried to have some sort of food related thing. So he would hit John with like a pinata and then like it broke open and he went like running to get all the food. He DDT'd him onto like a pie, like, stuff like that. The finish of the match was a lead pipe in a hoagie. He hit him with a hogie, but he'd been picking at it all night. So when he actually hit him with the hoagie, he straight up hit him with a lead pipe and John needed to get stitches. But one of the things that happened was they were using tomatoes and flour and everything. And I didn't know they were going to be using tomatoes and flour. And Mark Mest is looking at his ring and he's just like, he's like leaning back. He's like, that just gets you right here. It gets you right here when you see that and everything. And I was just like, Mark, I was like, you send me the bill on getting that cleaned on whatever that is. I'm like, I felt so bad. I was like, dude, if I could, I'll buy you a new, a new canvas for the ring. But he was cool about it. But he's such a character that in me and my friends in our history in the wrestling business was somebody that from 2002 until his last time I talked to him was probably around maybe 2008 or so. The one time I never actually worked him, I was wrestling and we had Bill Apter was actually our commissioner or whatever. Wonderful Willie. And he was our commissioner and, or whatever we called him. I don't know. And he was doing this whole thing where he was against me, but he was a good guy commissioner and I was a heel. And I was trying to leave the building before Big Lou got there, who I was in a feud with, right? And I'm trying to leave the building. He's like, well, you can't leave the building because you've got this match. He's showing up on the screen telling me. So I'm like, all right, so I got this match. The one guy comes out. I beat him. He's like, one more match. I forgot to tell you there's one more match. Another guy comes out. I beat him. I'm like, all right, I'm getting the hell out of here. He's like, I forgot there was one last match. Mark Mess music hits, which was we used a different music from at that point. It's kind of a throwback to like Earthquake. So that sound?
Yeah.
Mark Mess music hits, and I'm just like, nope. And I hightail it out of there because I was like scared to death to wrestle him kind of thing. And I always think that was so much fun, but I always regretted that I didn't actually get, like I would have loved to have gotten like cut off and thrown back in to actually work with Mark. So I never got to. But anyway, that ended up being much more of my story. But Matt had asked me to bring that up to you, and I was curious if you ever had any interactions with him or like ever got to work with him.
Yeah, Mark Metz is a great guy. I got to do a tag match with him. I want to say up somewhere near York, Pennsylvania one time. Good dude. I've rented his rings too. Great quality rings.
Great ring. Yeah.
Last time I saw him was maybe July 4th, 3 years ago in Nashville. We have a mutual friend, Julian Bradley, a.k.a. Chris Crude, who, runs shows with our buddy. Him and Riley Reinhart and Chris Crude run shows called for Freedom Pro Wrestling. Mm-hmm. They used to run in Wisconsin, and Riley moved to Nashville to go to school, brush up, do some college courses down there. So we started doing shows in Nashville, and they would all, Julian is such a good guy and loyal to Mark Mest, because Mark Mest helped him a lot, that, he had Mark on the shows, and I think that's the last time I saw Mark. Mark's a good guy.
Yeah.
I see him on social media.
I know. I see him sometimes on there. We every once in a while, like my brother will check in, like to go look and make sure he's doing well. And but Mark
he had a health scare a couple of years ago, but I think he's doing okay now.
Yeah. I mean, he is a big, like you said, throwback to like Haystacks Calhoun.
Yeah.
Mark Mast has got. I remember one time when we were down there, that man ate a pizza with a fork. Legit. That's not an
like
exaggeration.
A shrimp fork. He's that big. He just ate it with a shrimp fork.
No, and I don't even mean, he ate, when I say he ate a pizza, I'm not talking about a slice. He sat down, and I don't mean this to poke fun. I'm telling you, I'm painting the real picture here. The man his ring was set up in like a storage room, like a storage locker, like a exterior storage locker. And he had the back row from a car, like a back row, like a SUV or truck or something. So 3 seats all together, and he had that out just sitting there, and that's what he would sit in. And he sat in that, and he opened up a large pizza pie and grabbed a fork and was like eating that. And he was eating, like, I think the fork may have been for the stromboli that he also had, but that man was eating.
He rolled up in the pizza. And,
he was a big guy, and I got to tell you, for all the wonderful experiences I had with Mark, and I really appreciate just how cool he always was, and always willing to help. If we were working on a finish for a match that we had coming up or something, he would always lend an opinion and whatnot. Some of our guys that were just kind of friends that wanted to be a part of things and hadn't originally been properly trained. Right. He took them in, him and his guys took them in and trained them and made sure that they were doing everything safely and whatnot. But the one bad situation was, so I was running late, sleeping in late, and we were all supposed to head there. So we stopped at Wawa for me to go. I hadn't had breakfast. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to go. I'm exhausted, whatever. Got myself some hard-boiled eggs and a Red Bull. Dude.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster, right?
It absolutely was. The worst part wasn't my bowels. The worst part was that Mark Mast only had a porta potty outside.
Oh.
And I am locked in that porta potty on I want to say like a warm May afternoon. And I am in that porta potty that had not been emptied recently, but had absolutely been frequented. And it was an experience and a half. So yeah, and Mangle had wanted me to share that story and wanted to know about Mark Maston. So Matt, you're very welcome, because you were too afraid to tweet it at Mind of the Meanie, #AskMeanie. So we got it in there. But now from some real questions here.
Yes.
John Clifford,
sports entertainment questions.
Yeah, John Clifford writes, what is Meanie's opinion on fans using wrestling terms like buried, push, popped, heel, and babyface? I know some pro wrestlers feel that fans shouldn't use these terms. And I saw this question, and I'm so curious what your answer is, because it has always been something that I've had so much, like, I'll use the term gimmick to describe whatever, and I like, and when I would hear fans do it, I picked up on that stuff in the locker room, and I would always just be like, come on, man. Like, you don't even know what you're saying. What's your stance on it?
And I was one of those fans, so I can't really say, they shouldn't be saying it or using it when it comes to insider lingo. But the only thing that really makes me cringe is when somebody uses a term incorrectly. He deserves a push, or he's getting buried. Or, first of all, a push isn't just letting somebody win a bunch of matches.
Right.
A push involves promos, interviews, stuff like that. But yeah, it's saying somebody deserves a push. Not everybody deserves a push, because sometimes a certain wrestler might not know how to handle a push. A push requires many different things. Psychology, promo, stuff like that. Because there's plenty of wrestlers I've watched and I enjoyed watching wrestling and got me excited. And oh man, I wish they would push this guy. But then I got into the business and I realized some people don't know. I mean, some wrestlers might not be able to handle a push, stuff like that. And then like the term buried, to me, look, I lost more matches. Like I said, I lost more matches than I won. And if we kept a record book, you probably think I was getting buried. But there's plenty of times where you don't always have to go over to get over, You could be over and lose every match. Like Raven lost, all those matches to Raven except for the last one. And even on that one, he argued that he wanted to lose so he could say he never beat Raven,
Tommy
the ultimate underdog, But one of my favorite, comparisons to how, wrestling fans misuse terms is there's a song by Nirvana called In Bloom. And one of the lyrics, and it sticks out in my head every time. It goes, "He's the one who knows all our pretty songs, and he likes to sing along, but he don't know what it means." A lot of people like to, say wrestling insider terms, use insider terms, but they don't really know what they mean. Like I say, every morning I wake up, have my cup of coffee, sit on the couch and watch YouTube videos. I like to watch I'll watch shoot clips, or like there'll be a clip of say Marty Jannetty talking about Shawn Michaels. Bad example.
Eric, who the hell knows what Marty Jannetty's talking about?
Eric Bischoff talks about the NWO, and they'll put Eric Bischoff shoots on the NWO, which in my mind, shoot always has like a negative connotation. Like if me and you are in a match and we're having a match and you decide to go into business for yourself and you shoot on me.
Yeah, that's very different than I'm telling the truth about something.
I would rather you say Eric Bischoff talks about the NWO. He's saying shoots on the NWO makes me think he's going to shit on it.
And that's clickbait, in saying that stuff. And
hold on, yes, dear.
They have a Bruce Pritchard one for you. It's like Bruce Pritchard shoots on the Blue Meanie, and I know he's got not a bad word to say about you.
Yeah,
it's just clickbait.
Yeah. It's cool. Yeah, and basically, with these headphones, she can't hear the show, but with my old headphones, Mrs. Meanie could hear it. Josh had just been saying it was clickbait too.
Yeah.
But you both agree it's
minds.
clickbait. Yeah, great minds. They
But no, but it is, and that's But yeah, so it's.
I have no problem with it. But. And if somebody talks to me and is having I'm having a one-on-one with a fan and they use a insider term or whatever, I'll smile and nod. But inside, I'm just like, oh, that's not what that means.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. They're using it in a way. And I'm sure that I've
embarrassed myself plenty of times at shows where I'll yell out, "Jobber!" As a fan. And now I think back, as a performer, now I think back and go, oh, well, I was such an asshole.
Yeah.
I've been on both sides of this.
Yeah.
I have no problem with it. I don't find it disrespectful. But
unfortunately, there are a lot of times that the disrespect comes from the rest of the sentence that accompanies that term.
Yeah, no offense, but.
Yeah.
And the next thing is offensive.
But I thought that was interesting. And it's always like, I've always been curious about it because you find there were certain things that I thought meant something else. And then I went to a different wrestling school, or I was in a different locker room, and you hear someone say something. And a lot of time you really don't want to be sitting there going like, oh, excuse me, what does that mean? So you're sitting there trying to trying to figure it out in context, which is really tough when you have a term like gimmick, which can mean 56 things in the same sentence.
In Philly, Philly has its own dialect.
John.
John. That's what I was just about to go to. John.
But it's very similar.
Yeah. Oh, John and gimmick are one and the same. Where like if you're blanking on a word, you say, "Hand me that gimmick."
Yep.
In Philly, hand me that John. For those not, for those at home who are from another country, anybody not from Philly.
Yeah, anyone not from Philly is going, John. What the?
John. Jawn. John. Which is just a lazy version of the word joint. This is Spike Lee joint.
Yep.
This is Spike Lee John. Somebody did a Wawa shirt that says John, which I popped for.
That's awesome, yeah.
In the Wawa font.
If you know,
gimmick. Dude, I say it so much to my non-wrestling fans that friends, they'll be saying gimmick. I got other people who are not wrestling fans saying gimmick.
The first time my wife was like, "Can you pass the gimmick over there?" And she was like, I think, mortified with herself. But I was so proud. It was one of my proudest moments. Because, if someone says it enough and you don't even realize you're saying, because you're so, like...
in the moment.
Yeah, you're so used to, like, saying...
It's
like,
fluid.
So it's fun, though. But there's, like, certain, there's so many terms. And then depending on... You can have a term that you're in one locker room and it's just kind of accepted that it has one meaning. And you go somewhere else and other people are like, I wouldn't say it that way. I wouldn't,
Right.
Kayfabe is one of them. I had a conversation back when I was doing the podcast with Bill. Had the conversation with him and a debate over because he always said he hated that people would refer to the magazines as the kayfabe magazines. And I said it wasn't the proper use of kayfabe.
Right.
And Jim Cornette weighed in on it and agreed. But then it becomes one of these things where, you'd have to talk to a linguistics teacher to figure out, if it's used enough, does it just become more of like a dialect than it is anything else, right?
It becomes like an accepted form.
Right. Like kayfabe at this point, all of the way it's been referred to for the last 20 years in the wrong way. Well, that it's kind of now the right way because that's
how, like we were talking about, certain parts of the country use different terms for different things. Like I said, me and Mrs. Meanie were in Connecticut. A yard sale is called a tag sale.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, over in the UK,
hold on. What?
Only in Connecticut.
Oh, that's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre that it's not the Northeast.
It's just Connecticut, not the Northeast. Just
yeah. But you talk about look at these other countries that they mistakenly call soccer football. You know what I mean? There's things like I'm kidding. That was just for our. I'm already hearing little.
Oh, I hear the chat going. Pop. Sounds like pop-up video over there. Jesus Christ.
Man. Okay.
But
I'm kidding. It's
to me when
football.
You say somebody's getting buried. Yeah. It has nothing to do with wins and losses.
Unless it's a buried alive match.
Yeah. Well,
then it's incredibly literal.
Like to me, burying somebody is just keeping them off TV until people forget about them. Mm-hmm. Out of sight, out of mind. You're burying them.
You're burying them. Their contract's coming up. You're not going to re-sign them, so you're going to let them sit out at home so nobody knows who they are when they go somewhere else.
And that was my theory on why they sent me to Memphis initially. I was like, they just want me to. Because they released me the first time, and the fans went, had to save the Meanie campaign, and then Vince Russo said their email and phones were inundated with calls for me. Let's just send them to Memphis, out of sight, out of mind, and we can release them. That is my conspiracy theory. But that's Barry. When I always say when Daniel Bryan was feuding with with Stephanie and Hunter, they're like, they're burying him. I was like, he's on TV every week with the fucking owners of the company. Please bury me that way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so please bury me. Yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan Chambers says Josh them's fighting words. Look, I was just making a joke. Send all of your hate tweets to @Blue Meanie BWO. And
hey, I love soccer / football.
Yes. I will be honest with you. Makes a hell of a lot more sense for that to be called football than what we call football. So the fact that you kick it every so often, it's almost never touching. I mean, people will go their entire career playing professional football in the United States, and their foot will have never touched the ball. The majority will have gone, so yeah, I will say soccer should be football, I would love to know the origin of that, of why that's so screwed up.
I'm sure there's a Ken Burns documentary.
I was going to say, is there something where they're just like, what should we call this thing? Oh, I know they've got that football thing. Yeah, but that's a different sport. Yeah, but let's just take the name.
Yeah.
Because everything else is so literal. Like basketball.
Right.
You're putting a ball in a basket.
Baseball, you're running.
Running the bases.
Go to home base.
Yep. First base, second base, third base. Well, it's first base, but yeah. Golf. I mean, you're using a golf club to hit a golf ball into a golf hole. No, I don't. That golf. Golf is. I had heard once, gentlemen only, ladies forbidden.
Yeah.
So there's that. Good times.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so we've got some more questions here. This one.
Good question.
Yeah, great question there. John
all these questions have been great so
far. James Sorensen wants to know, how many seltzers have you buried today?
I'm on my. I just finished my first. I wish I would have brought my second.
See, I've been putting them over all day, so I don't know. But anyway, hey Meanie and Josh, and then he goes Meanie. But thank you for saying
delayed pop from the Meanie on the burying them.
What's that? Yeah.
No, you said it, and it was just a delayed pop on my end, like we were on a 7-second delay or something.
Yeah. Meanie, when are we gonna get a Blue Meanie cereal? It can have marshmallow meanies, yellow submarinis, and Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and of course the crunchy cereal bits have to turn the milk blue. Some of that in there, absolutely copyright infringement, and is heading in a completely different Blue Meanie than the one we know and love. But man, while we're at it, and we're trying to get seltzers made, and we're trying to get coffee made, a Blue Meanie cereal that has little marshmallow like your tattoo, like the little Meanie head.
You have the little glasses.
Little glasses, all of that stuff, man.
Little Daisy Dukes.
Cut off shirts. As all like the marshmallows, and then just blue. It should be shaped like you, and it should be a Blue Meanie. Yeah. Once that's in that milk, man, that milk
it could be like blueberry cereal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Blueberry, man.
I'm not above it. I'm not above doing it. I whip. Point me in the direction, sir.
Yeah, not above it. I can tell you from the mind of the Meanie, we are deep below it, man. We will. We're all up in that. So anybody who knows how we can get custom cereals,
because we've been trying to do our own seltzer and coffee for a bit here.
Yeah, so it's just not. Unfortunately, it's just not like the right time.
Right.
Yeah, with everything.
Once the world heals itself and opens back up a little bit more.
Yeah. I would love to. I don't know what the rules are with like selling that stuff, like selling seltzers at a booth at a convention, if we're like allowed to, because that's people just be walking along and be like, "Hey, here, seltzer for $1. If Meanie signs it, it's $50." Okay, what else do we have here? Let's go into some of our Patreon members have asked a lot of questions.
Good. I like, you know what, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If you're going to use the hashtag #AskMeanie anything, make sure I'm not tagged in it, because I don't want to see the questions. I want to hear it just like everybody else at home. I want to be on my toes. So
that last one came from Tony Tudat, who actually sent it as an email.
Hey, old school, got to respect that.
When people send them as an email, all I do, I copy it and I paste it right into the notes for the week's show. Not to ruin our gimmick that we don't have any notes, but yeah, we have a very rough outline.
Just for like just like emergency, break glass in case of emergency.
It's mainly because I can't remember stuff.
I definitely can't remember shit. I can't remember where I got my, hold on, hun. Yeah. What's the name of that place where I get my fucking oil changed? The car wash oil change next to Oregon Diner. So I went and got my oil change, and I went to tell him I got my oil change. I was like, I was just there.
Something lube.
Yeah.
Something lube.
Yeah.
Jiffy lube.
No, it's not Jiffy.
That's what I said.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm pulling out my phone.
And go.
No, because I put over the Gabby Pop where it's called Washing.
I was just gonna say that. Yes.
Oh no, I'm gonna do that right now.
Okay.
Sorry to.
No, while you do that, Devin Miller, Pod Squad Elite member, had asked when the world opened. So he asked this on our private Facebook group that is only for Pod Squad Patreon members. Another awesome reason to join our Patreon, gets you into that group where really an awesome community is being built there. Which I love to see. I did actually share with everybody. I apologize to anyone who didn't see that. I apologized for not responding to some things because my phone, for whatever reason, my phone app will no longer let me see any comments on the which they were when we first set it up. So then I have to wait until I'm on my computer, like some sort of an animal, and so I have to wait for that. But anyway. Devin,
give me the breaking news sounder.
Oh, give me 1 second here.
The Ritz Car Wash Lube Detailing Center. The Ritz.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway. So there we are.
Oh no, wrong button.
Oh man, I want to say this was my mom who told me this. Last week, because my mom just keeps listening to the show.
Hi, Ma.
Which is which I it's definitely
sorry.
She's the audience.
Yeah.
But so I think she got the notification at like 6 a.m. that the to her phone, probably dinged, little notification that Mind of the Meanie had posted. And I guess maybe she kind of half consciously tried to turn it off or whatever, didn't know what it was, hit the phone. She goes, I was lying in bed. All of a sudden my phone just starts laughing. And I'm like, what is happening? What is going on? And then she heard me. That was the start of last week's episode when it was just laughter. Sorry. So apparently amazing. She accidentally hit it and played it. But anyway,
I love that you kept it in.
Oh yeah. Come on. What are you going to do? So Devin had asked in the Facebook group, and Meanie kind of replied to it, but I wanted us to talk about it a little bit more.
Sure.
When the world opens back up, are Josh and Meanie going to do the pod in the same room, or are you guys going to stick to the current format? We've never really talked about this. I have my opinion.
What's that?
I have my opinion, and I think it's the same as yours.
I think we're good where we're at.
I think we're good where we're at. Yeah, we're an hour apart from each other.
Right.
And if you factor in, even if we met somewhere in the middle or we took turns going back and forth, I think that this works really well, what we're doing. Yeah. It also allows us to go live easily. It allows us to take this chunk of our time and be able to really do these long episodes that people love so much. So I think I would say the normal plan would be for us to do it like this. Does that mean that it will always be that way? No, not necessarily. There's a good chance, you might find might have it pointing at us sitting in my office on the couch, together cheersing each other with a seltzer. I can definitely see some scenarios, possibly watch-alongs or things like that down the line, I could see scenarios in the future where we said, hey, let's get together for this. And then, of course, we have talked about in the past, when conventions start up again, something like a StarCast or something like that, I would love to do a live, whether it's Conrad letting us on stage or us just off in a corner somewhere. I would love to do a live Mind of the Meanie where, we're streaming live for that, but at the same time, that's the one we're recording to do, if we're at a convention and we can't do it, maybe we would sit at our booth and just do the show while we're at our booth. If we didn't do that,
have different guests,
guests run in there. There's also the possibility if we're at one of these conventions and we're staying in a hotel that we go meet up in one or the other's room and do it,
We should do it from the travel lodge.
Do it from the travel lodge for the Cylinder of Sin.
And describe the surroundings.
Up on the top floor there. But no. So the short answer is we're going to keep it the way it is. But the long answer is we're when the world gets back to normal, 100% I intend on doing numerous episodes from various different locations together. Mm-hmm. But I think that's going to be based off of what's happening and if it lends itself to that experience. But otherwise, no, I think we would keep it like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. Devin also asks today on our chat. So Devin is actually here with us. Hey, Devin.
What up?
Thoughts on WWE firing Briscoe, Gerald Briscoe?
It's sad. I love Jerry Briscoe. Look, if it wasn't for Jack and Jerry Briscoe, there wouldn't have been a WrestleMania.
Yep.
Because for those who might not know, Jack and Jerry Briscoe they owned stock in Georgia Championship Wrestling, and they sold their shares of Georgia Championship Wrestling to Vince McMahon, which eventually, brought on Black Saturday, where people were tuning in to see Georgia Championship Wrestling, and there's Vince McMahon. So Vince had that hour had Georgia Championship Wrestling thanks to Jack and Jerry Briscoe selling their shares, which eventually Vince wound up selling that to the Crockett's. The Crockett's went and wound up buying that airtime for like over $1 million or something from Vince. Mm-hmm. Vince flipped that money into financing the first WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So, if it wasn't for Jerry Briscoe and Jack Briscoe, I wouldn't have had possibly a WrestleMania moment, But Jerry's, dude, I love him. I would take a bullet for Jerry Briscoe. Straight shooter, tells you how it is, doesn't sugarcoat, bullshit around anything. He was always fair to me, always kind to me in WWE. And to be there for 36 years, is a testament. And when you look at all the talent he brought in, he was their talent scout. He came to the Monster Factory in Paulsboro. Yep. Found Matt Riddle, found Damian Priest, found Steve Cutler, who are now in WWE, through Jerry Briscoe coming to the Monster Factory. Eye for talent. Well, he was a great talent. Him and his brother, legendary. Both legendary tag team. He his fingerprints are all over WWE, from WrestleMania to all the talent he brought in, and he's very optimistic. And like in a world where people get fired and the first thing they want to do is shit on the people who just employed them.
Right.
Well, if the company was so bad, why'd you go there in the first place? But he said, hey, it's been a hell of a run. I have no complaints and everything. And he's already landed on his feet. He knows what the business is. If you understand how the business works, most people are lucky to get one day in WWE, let alone 36 years. In the
Sure.
ring and behind the scenes. Him and his brother Jack had a good run at the WWF tag titles against Adrian Adonis and Dick Murdoch. If you watch some of those matches, some of the most exciting matches ever, where I was rooting for them to win the WWF tag belts. But now to be able to call Jerry Briscoe a friend, and I see him once a year, every year at the Cauliflower Alley in Vegas, and for him to treat me with respect, treat Mrs. Meanie with respect, I think he likes Mrs. Meanie better than me, to be honest.
I mean, in fairness, I think most people probably do.
Yeah. But, Meanie,
I know it's true with me and my wife, so.
Meanie, how's Tracy doing? Oh, what's that? Mrs. Meanie loves Jerry Briscoe. She just said he's the best. And he is.
I've never met Gerald Briscoe.
What's that, bud?
He will not stay unemployed.
No.
Unless he wants to, unless it's time to retire.
Right.
He's 1,000 years old.
I agree with her completely. I've never met him, and I refuse to not meet him. He is somebody I've just always enjoyed every aspect of his involvement in the business. And so I'm hoping that Cauliflower Alley Club event happens sometime in the next 30 years or so, if we're allowed.
Yeah, you got to come to the next banquet, man.
I absolutely, as the schedule allows, and schedule is actually what I call my wife. As long as schedule allows, that's something I would absolutely love to do. It's a large portion of why I signed up, and because I believe in what it supports, but B, I wanted that opportunity to be a part of that community. Speaking of communities.
Real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Go to, for those listening at home, which hopefully it's a lot of people, go to YouTube, go to the Monster Factory official YouTube page, and there's a video in there of Jerry Briscoe at one of our camps, and he just goes in on Matt Riddle and tries to take him down. Awesome. And there's a fun Briscoe gives no fucks. He was like, Matt was just on the floor stretching, and Briscoe went in on him, and they rolled around. They tussled for a little bit. That's a fun little video. So go check that out on YouTube. I'll
definitely check that out. So James Sorensen asked a couple of different questions here. One was, will the Pod Squad get to do a Zoom Mind of the Meanie? And the other one was, when the world opens back up, will we be doing like a Mind of the Meanie get together? So
absolutely, I want to.
Yeah. So here's my take on it. There's only so much time in the day, and in the week, in the month, and the year. That is something that maybe we would throw a poll up. We right now for elite members, and this is the first I've thought of this, so I'm just throwing it out here. Meanie might be like, don't like it. Yeah, just spitballing live on the air here. I could see that being something where we said, where we switched it, where instead of the monthly calls that we did, which are about 5 minutes long, that we instead did a monthly Zoom for all elite members, where it's Meanie and I on there, and we're all just hanging out for a few hours a month, as opposed to doing that. So I think that's something that would be an either or, where we would just kind of change what it's worth. So maybe I'll put a poll up and see on Patreon to see if that's something people would be interested in, because that actually sounds very interesting to me. But that kind of the only time I think we'd be able to do that would be during that time that we normally carve aside to make the phone calls. And we are very lucky that already this month we have way more phone calls to make than we did last month.
Right.
And, so maybe that is something that can dig us out of the hole that we maybe put ourselves into.
Well, to put it this way, too, Mine and the Meanie, our Pod Squad, it's about community, family atmosphere. And a lot of us, we have our own private Facebook group where everybody could talk. If we could do, I'm kind of, now you bring up the Zoom thing, it would kind of, it's awesome to do a special one-on-one phone call, something like that. But so Pod Squad members can interact with other Pod Squad members on a Zoom call, where me and you are in there. I think that would actually, instead of doing phone calls, which is cool. I don't mind doing. I love doing it. It's my idea. I want to do them. I'm not saying I don't want to do them, but like to do a Zoom call where not only can we talk to our elite members, but elite members can interact with other elite members.
They'll actually pick up the phone.
Yeah, and they'll actually pick up the phone. Yes, it's true.
Yeah, I feel bad because sometimes we call and it goes right to voicemail.
Yeah,
and we leave a voicemail, but I still want to have that human interaction.
And that's the thing. And what I would do if we were to do that, no matter how many people were on the Zoom call, I don't know how many people you can have on a Zoom call, but I think it's a
good amount.
A good amount, yeah. So look, if we had to split it and say, sign up for call 1 and call 2, and do it like that, we should be so lucky.
Do 2 nights like the Crockett Cup.
Yeah, right. But no, that's something that I think would be really fun to be able to do, and maybe encourage some people who are on the fence about joining Patreon to really understand that you're getting that interaction. And also it becomes more of a face-to-face interaction. And I would make sure I would go through each person so every single person would have an opportunity to ask any questions, to just say, we'd probably do go around, everyone say hello and introduce yourself at least the first time.
Like an AA meeting.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm a meanieholic. Travis says, never heard of Zoom before the apocalypse. Me neither. Not against it, but the phone call is pretty cool. There's a lot. Look, there's things we can talk about adding different tiers that have additional things on top, and maybe so you can do both Zoom and both calls. Meanie, I'll talk about it. We'll see what we think we can come up with, and we'll always poll you guys. We won't, we won't change things on you where you've put your $5 down, and now we're like, well, and now for the same thing, put down 15. We're not gonna do that.
No.
But
no sticker shock.
Yeah. Travis also asked a couple of questions. First one, what's the last band Meanie saw live in concert before the apocalypse? And also, what kind of coffee does Meanie make his cold brew with?
Holy shit. Hon, what's the last concert we saw?
I've been trying to think of that, and I don't know.
I almost want to say it was Heart.
Heart was all the way in August.
I know.
Was there like a Smashing Pumpkins in the fall, or?
Nah, Smashing Pumpkins was in
August. Everything was in August.
Yeah, because the running joke was Fozzy played my birthday, and then Smashing Pumpkins played her birthday in August.
That was nice of them to do.
Yeah, Billy's a great guy. So giving. And that was like August of 2019.
Yeah, Billy and did you say it was Fozzy?
Fozzy actually played here on my birthday for the MMR barbecue.
Yeah, so he and Jericho got together, and they were just like, all right, somebody's taking Tracy's birthday, someone's taking Meanie's birthday. Who's going to do it?
Yeah.
Their schedules.
That was a great fucking birthday, too. We hung out with Fozzy. We hung out with Bad Wolves. Hung out with the Struts.
God damn it.
Oh, both great bands.
So the other question was, what type of coffee do you make your cold brew with?
Me and Mrs. Meanie are a fan of Folgers Black Silk.
That's actually good.
Really good.
Yeah.
But a little inside baseball here. We're becoming big. We have ShopRite here in Philly. For those around the world, and they are like knocking it out of the park with their own line of like ShopRite brand stuff. They call it Bowl and Basket.
Oh,
where it's like cheaper versions of like the name brand, but it's good shit. And they maple bourbon coffee.
Ooh.
So Mrs. Meanie makes the cold brew. She'll put in like 3 scoops of the Folgers Black Silk, and then she'll top it off with a scoop of the maple bourbon. See,
maple bourbon to me, I feel like I want that warm.
Well, it is. Well, that cold brew coffee is a warm coffee.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying I want to then have you can.
Yeah, and we got 2 carafes that we make.
It's less acidic, so it won't kill
Mrs. Meanie prefers cold brew because some hot coffees and some other versions of the cold iced coffee is acidic, and it gives her indigestion. So the cold brew
makes sense.
It's less acidic for her to enjoy.
And you can put cold brew in the microwave.
We make the cold brew if she wants it warm. She just pops it in the microwave for a few seconds.
I would tell you.
The cold brew you can leave out on the counter and keep it warm, or you put it in the fridge and make it cold.
I am heating up my coffee every day. I will make myself a cup of coffee, and I drink like 2 sips, and then somebody tries to jump off a couch or do whatever, and then the next thing you know, my coffee is ice cold, and I have to nuke it. But no, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, a couple other questions here.
Sure.
Let's see what we have here. Oh, I do want to jump back to something, but before then, Anthony Camarada, hey Anthony, says,
what up?
Zoom is hard with a lot of people, in my opinion, and yes, that is true. But what we would do is we would make it organized. So we would mute everybody. We would keep, because I've done a lot of, we talked in the past, I did a lot of like recertification classes and stuff on Zoom. Basically, what works out well is you mute everybody and you have a chat going on. So if someone has something they absolutely feel like they need to say, they let you know. But otherwise, what we would do is kind of almost like a show of hands. Like we would say whatever, and if someone raises up their hand, be like, "Yeah, what's up?" And we'd unmute them, and they would say something. Or
have the option of one Zoom call or a phone call. Like if somebody prefers a phone call,
you can
maybe
in the Zoom. Yeah, you have the choice of being in the Zoom call or getting the personal call. Yeah, but I mean, those are different. You know,
we're willing to work.
I mean, we literally just thought about this the second this was asked.
Yeah,
so we have no idea.
You're inside one of our meetings right now, but it just happens to be on the air.
So Anthony also asks, does Meanie have any pets? Is he a cat or dog person?
I don't have any pets, but I love both cats and dogs. But if I had to get a pet right now, it would have to be a cat, just for the fact that they're self-sufficient.
Yes.
You know, here's your food, here's your box, here's your water. Yep. Have at it. I do like dogs, but like I said, they're, you know, you have to get up, walk them, and all that stuff, and middle of the night, you know, go take them for a walk so they don't, you know, take a dump on a rug or whatever. But I haven't bought a pet just because, like George Carlin says, when you buy a pet, you're buying a minor tragedy.
Yes.
And my last dog I had was Sammy, who I had for 13 years. And fortunately, we had to put him down, and it just brought up, you know, it was sad. And, you know, I don't know if I can go through that again.
It's interesting you say that. So I was lucky enough growing up. I had so many, at one point in time, we had 3 dogs, and then, you know, all so unique from each other. I'm a huge animal lover and dogs and cats. And we also had cats. And the dog that I got, his name is actually Matumbo, because we got him in 2001 when the Sixers were like, you know, when they were killing it. So off of Dikembe Mutombo. Yeah. But we switched the U and the O, so we called him Mo.
There you go.
And he passed away about 2 years ago, maybe. So that was that was the first time that it was a pet that I got when I was graduating high school, and had all the way, like my daughter met him, you know, like, so that was a tough one. But I had a cat named Jimmy who had a heart condition that I didn't know about, and he was 4 years old, and this was when I was in my mid-20s or so. And he was 4 years old, and just one day just had like a seizure and was gone. Wow. And I, at that moment, said, nope, I can't do it. I can't, as much as I love pets, I can't do this ever again. That was like one of the worst, you know, people who don't get pets maybe wouldn't understand it, but their family, and it was one of the worst experiences. When I met my wife, she had a cat named Hallie, who, those of you who bought my children's book, Hallie makes an appearance in there, as do all of my old dogs are all in art form in the book. But Hallie, so my wife had gotten her when she was living in Hawaii, right after college. So Hallie was 16 and a half, and she passed away this past November. And she had dual blockage of her kidneys and everything. We got an extra 4.5 years thanks to Penn Vet. They were amazing. She was just the most talkative cat. Loved her. But it was almost like one of those things, you know, when you learn you can love again type thing. You know, like it's so weird to say. And I know we're getting kind of deep here. But, you know, I married into owning her, you know?
Right.
And I'm so glad I did, but it was one of those things that was just so damn tough. And you know, my wife was pregnant with our third child when Hallie died. And, but the other kids, you know, it's been almost a year now and they still talk about her and they say they miss her and stuff. So we've been like back and forth, like, okay, do we get another pet? We always had said the next one we got would be a dog. Cause for me, like, I felt like this cat was such like a part of our family that I don't like, I can't see having it like a replacement, which I know isn't what it is, but it's about having a dog. But then the conversation has been, now that we have 3 kids, and if the world comes back together and I'm traveling again or whatever it is, a cat is self-sufficient. And, you know, so that's kind of where we've been going back and forth. And that's a long story. Just to, you know, I took the opportunity to lay down on the couch here and
while we're on it, you know, just like, you know, I have great nieces and I don't want kids, but I live through my niece and nephews and stuff like that, and being Uncle Brian and stuff like that. With our friends, we become like surrogate pet owners. You know, Mrs. Meanie has pet sat for you know, our friends and stuff like that, and to the point where they just have her stay at the house. So we feel like we're on a staycation somewhere in Philly. You know, go over there and pet sit. And I have to say this, shout out to my boy Donnie. He listens every week. He just lost his cat the other day, Buddy, who he had for 19 years.
That's, man.
Yeah, Buddy was, his father found Buddy while he was working on the docks and brought him home, like a stray, and brought him home and had him for 19 years. He's older than his son, you know.
It's unbelievable.
It hit him hard. I love Donnie. I love his family. And, you know, the loss of Buddy kind of hit me too.
I saw when Tracy had posted.
Yeah. You know, the last time we broke quarantine and went over and hung out, you know, Mrs. Meanie took a photo with Buddy and stuff like that. And there's a, like when we go over, like we all automatically social distance when we're over there. Like I'm on the couch 6 feet from Donnie, he's 6 feet from his wife. I'm, you know, 6 feet from Tracy. And there's this chair by their window and I'm sitting on the couch. And I guess I was tired, I was falling asleep. And Buddy was on the windowsill, on the window behind the curtain. But I was falling asleep, and Mrs. Meanie calls me Buddy. She goes, "Hey, Buddy, you falling asleep?" Or she goes, "Hey, Buddy." And Buddy poked his head through the window, which is funny because we always, you know, Buddy was deaf, you know. So they're like, it's a fucking work. He can hear us, you know, joking. She was talking to me, but the cat turned around, huh? And then I was like, it's a fucking work. But yeah, rest in peace, Buddy. Cute cat. Donnie gave him a great life. There's a couple times where we thought, you know, Buddy was going to do the job, but he kicked out on 2 3/4 a couple times. But that's because, you know, he had a great owner in Donnie and Bev. So
yeah, and that's one of the things. Like I know for us, like we've been, it's. I've always looked at it and said, you know, whether it's a pet, a family member, a friend, the loss that you feel is directly equal to the joy that you got from that relationship. So
the moments.
But I do
have another cat named Biggie who's a complete asshole.
Oh man. I want to jump back to a question James Sorensen had asked. Once the world opens up, are there plans for a Pod Squad get together? We talked about the Zoom thing, but we never really talked about the physical get together. So first of all, God, I hope one day we can actually get together. I think, and this is stealing things completely from stuff that like I know Conrad's done in the past with his shows and all.
You got bar from the best.
Yeah, I would love if we were to do a live show to maybe prior to or after the show.
Piggyback.
Like a dinner with our Patreon members where it's just, you know, and it's, you know, and it's one of those things where, again, like we're so lucky, like right now, the amount of Patreon elite members, forgetting even just in general Patreon members, but the amount of Patreon elite members, I feel like if we all got together and sat at a table for dinner, like there's no way we could talk to everybody. Like there's a lot, and we're very lucky for that. We really appreciate all of you. So again, it kind of becomes that thing of like, but again, we want you to have the opportunity to hang with each other. So maybe it would be a thing. Maybe it's not a proper sit down dinner. Maybe Chef Mike's just, throwing out a bunch of Meanie Burger sliders, and we're having some seltzer. And maybe if we're doing a show, we all get together for, an hour and a half before the show starts, before doors open to everybody else. The Pod Squad's there. So you get to in person watch us fumble along as we try and set things up. But, or maybe an after party instead, so we can actually enjoy and spend time with you guys. So the short answer, yes. I think Meanie and I have talked about this before. We are longing for it. We want so badly to be able to get together. But we want to, try and figure it out and make it make sense where it's a place, because everybody's from all over the place. So we want to see, we got Travis says, if timing is right, I would fly from Edmonton to Philly to hang with you guys. I love our Pod Squad. And that's amazing. And then that falls to us where we look at it and go, well, man, it's got to be more than just hey, man, good to see you. Like, you're flying from Edmonton. There better be a live show. There better be, like, I don't know what we need to make it worth your while. And that's, so that's something that we absolutely, James saying Pod Squad elite equals family. And that's something that we've seen posted a lot lately on certain Patreon things and social media. That means the world to us. We appreciate that. We appreciate everybody who is not on Patreon as well. Like, we know not everybody has the extra money, even $5 just to throw out to listen to us, dumbasses talk for 3 hours a week. So we really appreciate everybody who takes the time to support our show, Patreon or not. But the nice thing with Patreon is it allows all of you to kind of connect, and that's so cool for us to get to see that. Let's see what we have. Maybe time for one more question here. I'll scroll through. Let's see. Probably should have found this while I was talking. Let's see. Just a drink and a chat would be enough for me, guys. Love what you do. Well, we really appreciate that. That's awesome. I'll tell you what, I don't think we really have any other questions. Somebody had asked about any recommendations of good Swamp Candle songs. So while you do that, I'm going to set up our next thing before our go-home spot.
Swamp Candle's one of my favorite bands, including all the, the main hard rock guys. Yeah, I mean, Swamp Candles remind me a little bit of like Aerosmith meets The Cult. They put out a CD a little while, more than like 15 years ago. And it's kind of their last record ever, called This Is Rock and Roll. But dude, I've been there for all variations of the Swamp Candles, because they had a couple different lead singers and then a couple drummers. But it's always been Joey and Chris DiNardo, their other guitar player. Now Joey Campbell's brother, Chris Campbell, is playing guitar and bass with them. But so many good songs besides the BWO theme.
Naturally.
They have a song called No Code that's a lot of fun. You know what? I got my cell phone here. I'm hooked on the Bluetooth. Let me see if I can pull one up real quick.
Do it.
We won't get pinched for this. It's Joey's tune. Joey almost sold the BWO theme to the WWE, but then he was just like, you know what? Because he knows the value of the song and stuff like that. But let me see. The Swamp.
We definitely appreciate you not doing that.
Yeah. Then WWE went off and made a knockoff of that.
Yeah.
What's kind of flattering. Swamp Candles, No Code. Let me see. No Code. It's like a real fun. It's like it sounds like a song that you would hear driving down the road, like a opening scene of a movie. Flash out the window, show the front of the car, show the lines in the road going, and then you put the title of the song in it. Let me see. I'm hyping it up. I can't find it. Let me see. Swamp Candles official page. Let me see.
This is riveting podcast.
Oh, yeah. Meanie doing the search.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to do a seventh inning stretch while we're here.
Yeah. But seriously,
I'll tell you what.
You know what? I'll do another song.
While you do you have one queued up?
No.
All right. While you look for that, I'm going to play this song here.
Yeah.
Knock off Foo Fighters. And we're going to go to our ratings and reviews. Ratings and reviews, where we read reviews that accompanied the ratings. We want to thank everybody who has gone over to Apple Podcasts and left us a 5-star review. We are 5 stars across the board, and that means the world to us. 60-something reviews. As we inch closer to 100, we'll have to come up with something yeah, I want to just read 2 new reviews. One came from a Jay Sorensen. So I'm gonna. It says Sorensen, but I'm assuming that's James Sorensen. But he gives us 5 stars. Says, "Effing amazing. I tell you what, this is a podcast full of laughs, jokes, and opinions that will get you to listen and feel the friendship between Josh and Meanie. Great comedy and truly wonderful and amazing and talented people really listen to this. Our people really listen to this. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate that." And then Jack from Cleveland, 5 stars here. Again, thank you. Great, relaxing podcast for road trips. I've been a listener of mine of the Meanie. Recently, my friends and I went on a road trip, and we binge listened to the show on the 5-hour drive. Made it even more fun. 5 stars. Thank you so much.
So cool.
I know you're referring to it as binge listening, but a 5-hour drive feels like you made it through halfway of one episode.
1 1/3.
Thank you so much. We're gonna jump.
I found the song, by the way.
Oh, let's hear that song.
You want to know my favorite Swamp Candle song? This is Swamp Candles No Code. Let's see. Okay. Big Rib. What the fuck, man? I'm Bluetoothed in.
Did you turn it? Is it down? Is your Bluetooth down?
Son of a bitch. Meanie and technology. There it is. I can see like the opening of a movie.
Yeah.
No.
That
like
was when the
Eastbound
car
and Down,
zoomed by and the credit and the name.
Yeah, it's like Eastbound and Down kind of. It's just the video system live
good
playing.
entrance music too.
Yeah. Here's the vocals. Lead singer Tracy Bishop used to be in a band called the Dogtown Balladeers with Jackie Bam Bam from WMMR back in the day. There's a couple other bands, but like when the Swamp Candles got him, I was like, oh my God, I popped like, they had got a #1 quarterback, Great singer. This is such a great driving song.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to download a couple more Swamp Candle stuff. This is some good
What's
stuff.
that, buddy?
I'm gonna have to download some more. This is good stuff.
Yeah, I got a tire drive.
I have a handful of their songs.
Yeah. Well, let's little inside baseball while this plays in the background. When we're starting the podcast, we needed some copyright-free music, trade-free, whatever. And Joey had sent me a bunch of it. Joey had sent me songs back in the day, and then he got them digitized, and sent them to me. There's a couple instrumental songs that never did, and I put them up in our thing just in case we need music for ad reads or stuff like that. And,
we've used some. Yeah.
And
then we got lazy and just kept hitting the same button over Orchestra.
Pretty much. But I have every version of the band on my hard drive. I got I had like 3 different singers. First singer was named Earl, and then they had a guy, Joe Lamb, and then finished with Tracy Bishop, who was, in my opinion, their best singer. But yeah, if you can't find it, I'll definitely hook you up. But yeah, this is definitely, you know, he's got a little bit of a Janis Joplin to his voice, you know.
Yeah.
And you can definitely hear like the inspiration for like a BWO, how they got that like rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great drumming, you know, piping and stuff like that. So. Go ahead.
No, Anthony says I'm always looking for new music to explore.
Go subscribe. They got a bunch of songs on their YouTube page, and I think they have a place where you can download, buy their music.
Travis says, been on the Black Crowes kick lately thanks to Meanie. Shake Your Moneymaker is such a classic.
These guys are definitely Black Crowes-ish. Yeah.
So then, James Sorensen had actually asked another question earlier, and reminded me of season 3 of The Good Place. Have you finished it yet? I finished.
No, we got to do that.
The Good Place entirely. Yeah, Meanie has to.
Oh, yeah, here's to go home. A little bit of Led Zeppelin trampled underfoot here. We'll just let this play out.
That's Swamp Candles
Big
on
Finish.
MOTM Radio. Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Black Crowes on Mind of the Media Radio.
I just made that same joke, but I don't think you heard me.
Yeah, there's something weird. Like if you're playing, low inside bass. If you're playing like ad music and you're talking, when you're talking to ad music, in my headphones disappears.
Yeah, it's weird.
So when I'm playing my music, you went to say something, I had to pull it back a little bit, but but no biggie.
Travis says, we're just gonna, I guess we'll just real quickly again. Travis says, what's the worst? Yep. Travis says, what's the worst WWE reprogrammed music you've heard on the network? Watched Road Wild 98 last night, and they had Leno come out to some silly, jazzy, late night knockoff music. I will give you my answer right off the bat. Sandman at One Night Stand.
Yeah. You can't replace Under Sandman.
Hands down, his entrance is still there.
Yeah.
And it's just...
It drowns out when they put that new music over it, it drowns out the initial pop and all that stuff. We were watching when WrestleMania comes around. Me and Mrs. Meanie will watch some old WrestleManias, and I want to say one of the WrestleManias from Atlantic City, Demolition. They took out the Demolition theme and put something else in there, which is weird.
Really?
Or I know they definitely took out Jive Soul Bro for a couple of Slicks guys too. Which I was like, why? You know?
Yeah, there's some, money. It's all about the money. So no, Travis, I have not seen Dr. Sleep, the sequel to The Shining, but I wanted to. He says the woman played the villain was tremendous. Meanie, have you seen that?
Unfortunately, no, but I've heard great things.
That was one other question that I did see somewhere. I don't remember who asked, and I apologize. What is your favorite horror movie?
Favorite horror movie? Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors. Mrs. Meanie pops because I'm a huge Doc and Mark, and they do the theme for Dream Warriors.
Yeah, I gotta tell you,
that's definitely on our road trip mixes when we go on.
When they used to make songs for movies?
She said, "Remember when they used to make songs specifically for movies?"
Right. I think Frozen did that. That's
but no,
that's
like
what I watch these days.
Yeah. Dude, there's so many good soundtracks. Like Last Action Hero soundtrack's perfect. The Single soundtrack was perfect. And the Crow soundtrack was perfect. So many good they don't do that anymore.
As far as horror movies, though, I will say Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is probably tied for me as my number one. My other one would be Scream, the first Scream.
Scream 1 was pretty good too.
A lot of that was also my age. Like I loved Scream 1. I love Scream 2 also, which I haven't watched in a long time. I'm sure it didn't age as well as I remember.
What I like about the Scream thing is they do little nods to all their movies where the janitor was wearing a Freddy Krueger sweater.
Yeah. Oh, it was awesome. And then Scream is coming back.
Yeah.
I think it's Scream 5 maybe.
I heard RJ City talking about with David Arquette one.
David Arquette's going to be in it. And Nev Campbell will be back as Sidney Prescott.
That's great.
I think Courtney Cox is signed on. So I got to tell you though, at this point, like with those characters, I don't want them killed off.
No.
And it's like when they came back for the last Scream that they did, I was just like, no, they're going to kill them off. And maybe I'm forgetting. I don't think any of them did get killed off though. I think they teased it, but they didn't.
I would have to revisit, refresh.
Yeah, that's what I would do. So my wife does not like horror movies. So that is going to be when that comes out, hopefully I'll be able to just go to the theater by myself and watch that.
Do it on the cheap side, go to the matinee.
I know, dude, that's what I got to tell you. There were times in my life, there's one time when I first moved to Kentucky for OVW, and I think I may have told this story before. I had a cold, and I went to the mall, but it was one of those colds where like your eyes start watering, and you just tears just start coming down.
Yep.
And I'm walking around by myself. I just moved there, I'm all alone. I hadn't even gone by the Davis Arena yet. So like I know nobody really. And I'm like walking around. I'm like, I'm just walking around here by myself crying is what this looks like. This is horrible. I really wanted to see a movie, and it's funny because now I don't, it's Cloverfield. I wanted to see Cloverfield when that came out. And I went and was so embarrassed to be in a movie theater by myself. And I was like, maybe it wasn't Cloverfield. Maybe it was something else. Cloverfield, I think that came out. I think I went with a bunch of people from OVW. But whatever it was, I was so embarrassed. I was like 23, and I'm like, this is so weird. And I remember like there was like this whole group of people, and I wanted to just kind of like stand near them so people thought I was with them.
Yeah.
Well, now, at this stage in my life, there's nothing I love more than going to a movie by myself.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I went to see It, and then I saw It 2, sequel to that. Both of those I saw by myself and loved every second of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, things changed. I used to always wonder, my dad would always like go out and grab some lunch by himself. Sometimes he'd like go out to lunch, he'd bring a book, I was always like, well, why do you like go by yourself? Like, what, and I mean, this is while we were, we weren't going to hang out with him for lunch, so, but he'd do it. And like, as I got older, I was like, I totally understand why he did this. Yeah. This is wonderful. This is, it's
a good mind eraser.
Yeah, absolutely. But speaking of mind erasers, I feel like that's pretty much what this episode turned into at one point. Only because I don't remember what we talked about for the first 3 hours. No, this was a really fun episode. This was a lot of fun. I find myself all week long, man, just waiting for it, and it's just it never disappoints me, and I hope it doesn't disappoint any of you listening. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, it was good stuff, man. Thanks for everybody for joining in. Thanks for people in the chat contributing to the show, as usual. Thank you to everybody listening at home. Hopefully we're a happy distraction for you and your loved ones, whether, like you said, on a road trip or do whatever you do. I know a lot of people listen at work, and it helps them get through their day. So if we can help you in any way, we've done our job.
Yeah, I second all of that. And I guess that about does it for us here, Meanie. Make sure to follow us on social media at Mind of the Meanie. While you're at it, follow us as individuals. Meanie can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Blue Meanie BWO. I'm at So Says Shernoff on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as well. Don't forget to visit mindofthemeanie.com, and that will take you to all of our wonderful shirts over at Pro Wrestling Tees. That's prowrestlingtees.com/mindofthemeanie. You can check out Meanie stuff, prowrestlingtees.com/Blue Meanie. My stuff, prowrestlingtees.com/So Says Shernoff. And of course, collarandelbowbrand.com. Use the promo code Meanie, save yourself 10%. We have homage.com, and then of course retromaniawrestling.com. Check all of those out. For the Blue Meanie, I'm Josh Shernoff. Join us again next Monday for another trip into the mind of the Meanie.
Blue World Order. The world of MLW radio never stops.